When we do things like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome to another week of Manversations 2020. What up, fellas?
What's up, whoa?
What's good?
I'm good,
What's up?
man.
What's up?
Everything blessed, man. Everything great. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up, man. Glad to be back for another week. We made it for another week, which is a good testament to our ancestors, the universe, God, keeping us all here safe and sound and out here to give you guys another week of great information like we do every other week. But every week it seems to be greater and greater. So we thank everybody who's been tuning in. All the replies we've been getting is so overwhelming. Even got stopped in the streets. I went to the Dr. Umar to go see Dr. Umar in Miami Gardens, and even out there, people was coming up to me, man, and just saying how much of a great show this is and what we're doing here on the platform. And I
Beautiful.
just told them like, yo, it's gonna get better.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
gonna get so dope. And shout out to Major. Um, Major worked on something that you guys are gonna very much appreciate. And he gave me a snippet of it, and it blew my mind. So I know what we tell you guys. I know sometimes y'all don't believe what we say, but when I tell you, yes,
yeah.
believe,
It's going
believe,
down.
because remember, people before we launched this platform, people had a lot to say. They didn't think it was gonna get to the level it was on. They thought we was out here gonna be bashing women and doing all of that, and it was everything that they said that they thought we were gonna do was a complete opposite. And they thought it was gonna fail, and then same people that thought it was gonna fail came back and was like, "Yo, y'all doing some real good work." So even the naysayers, if you do what you do out here, even the naysayers will turn into your number one fans and your number one believers. You know what I'm saying? Everybody
So,
isn't going to see the dream that you see. It's up to you to put it in fruition. And I guarantee you, when they don't see it initially, they'll see it eventually. And that's more of a power to you as a person, as your brand, and what your purpose of doing here on earth. And that's what we try to do every week. We're on here. We're trying to get you guys to that level where we're sharing the knowledge that can empower not only yourself, it can empower family members, and it also can empower your friends. Because if you have a friend that's lagging, at the end of the day, it's kind of like you swimming with dead weight. So the more you have your friend lagging, the more weight is pulling you down. And in order for you to survive, you got to make sure that they're not lagging. You have to make sure they pull in their own weight. And that way, you guys can pretty much roam in a fleet of lions and not trying to be that one muscular dude trying to save seven other people from drowning. All right.
good
So,
talk.
with that being said, this is why we wanted to do this week the powers of hip hop and rap music. Why is it so powerful? Why has something that people thought was going to veer off, end up spiraling, not lasting long, end up being pioneered to one of the most influential genres of music to touch worldwide?
Mm. Mm.
Wasn't looked at as that. There was other genres they thought would have been way bigger than what they are, and that wasn't the case because we had a lot of people in the hip hop community that believed in themselves. They believed in their art. They believed in their craft when so many other people said it was trash and it was garbage. And a lot of those people actually were family members initially. You know what I'm saying? And that just goes to the testimony of the people, the creators, the godfathers, the pioneers of hip hop. And I'm so glad that Tariq is really working on that documentary right now to give us the correct information about who was out here pioneering it and who was out here assisting it. There's nothing wrong with assisting in anything that takes off to be great, but uh, you don't want to claim something that you know that you didn't pioneer or constructed to start. And I think there's a lot of false narratives out there about who started hip hop. And to be honest with you, the foundational blacks are the ones who started hip hop. And I can contest to that. I'm an immigrant, and I'm a Jamaican immigrant who has been out here being schooled by my father. I say, rest in peace to my father who passed away in 2018. My father was one of the biggest DJs. I wouldn't say the biggest DJ, but the biggest DJ in his own circle, right? Um, and my father collected records like I used to. I didn't understand why I was collecting um, comics like that. I would collect comics, you know, like I would look for any kind of comic and collect it. If it looked interesting, I was also looking for number ones. If it was a number one comic, I would collect it.
Right.
And I'd be like, man, let me just collect it because you never know. It's a number one. Nobody knows about this, but because it's the number one issue, you never know how it take off.
Right. Right.
It was a gamble. Sometimes it didn't take off. I had number ones that really wasn't worth much. And I had some number 200s that was worth way more. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But it was a gamble that and a risk you took. And my dad was the same way with music.
Mhm.
So I say that because I want to set up the line of where my dad comes into play, where my dad had over 9,000, he had over 9,045s and 6,000 LPs. And the thing about it, he had 45s, which you guys know is the miniature record.
Yeah.
They normally have one song on one side and flipped on the B side.
Yeah.
That was the vinyl singles, right? It was the 45s. And my dad had music that nobody else had. Like it was rare. Like for somebody to have what my dad had, it probably was like 100 other people in the world that had that music. That's how
Wow.
rare some of my dad's collection was. My brother, after my father passed, me and my brother sat down and we were thinking about what we should do with the collection of his records. And my brother came up with, we're gonna donate it into the museum and archive it that way. So our father's legacy did not go unnoticed. Right now, it's archived up there in Maryland.
Okay.
I'm gonna get with my brother some more and find out the more details of it because he lives up in Maryland and I'm down south. So the thing I wanted to say was growing up with my father, I was so musically inclined because of all the music that I used to wake up and listen to. Everything from Dionne Warwick to Slappy White on record as a comedic album. You know, we had comedy that was on LP.
I
You know what
remember
I'm
that.
saying?
Yep.
And my dad had so many. He had Red Fox on LP. This was I was just sitting there read like how you guys would look on go to YouTube and look up somebody's comedic act, and it'll show you the video and play their whole routine. My dad would wake up and put the record on, and we would hear the laughter and the comedy and the skits all on an LP.
Okay.
So it was so unique. So I had Michael Jackson, Michael McDonald, and all these other. It was so many genres out there that my father was so invested in. It wasn't just one; he was just in awe. And during that time, I remember, and it's so funny because I never asked him about hip hop. He would come in here and he would see me with my hip hop album. I would collect records, hip hop albums, like he would collect records. And but that's just universal. Everybody, every child, every generation gonna have people that collect their own set of music. So I was collecting mine. So my dad overlooked and he was like, let me look at some of your music. And I remember when I came back down to visit, come back down on vacation to visit my mom during the summer. And I came back up and my dad was like, I went through your album and I was listening to some of your music and some of your music is pretty good. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I ain't take you for an old school band to be sitting here talking about rap music is pretty good. He was like, nah. My dad was very fair. My dad was very fair in assessing a lot of things. And my dad would say, he told me that. He was like, yo, your music line is pretty dope. But do you know where the origin of rap came from? And I was like, huh? He was like, yeah, hip hop, right? I was like, yeah. He was like, do you know where it came from? I was like, no, I didn't. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, I'm going to let you listen to some records in the 1940s that was rap. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, he played and be like, skip through that. And I'm like, wow. And my dad was playing this, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't think nothing. And mind you, this is back in, I want to say, this was back in the early 2001. He told me this story, right? So this was 17 years before he passed away. And So you talking about 2001? My dad's telling me the story, and during the time he was saying that he was giving me all the different years that the Foundational Blacks was actually doing rap music, but it
Hmm.
was still disguised as soul music, right?
Right.
And he would, I would listen to the cadence and melody, and it was in the form of rap music.
Hmm.
And you know, later on, it came down into the pioneer years of the late '70s, and then that was formulated into what was hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It started like '73, and then they really got formulated into the late '70s, early '80s, right?
Right.
So during that time, my father really broke down all that stuff. He was talking about ska music and all that. You know, all that stuff was coming from rap artists and foundational Black Americans. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So when he started breaking down the whole history of it, now we're having that talk now, and now it all makes sense. So when I hear Tariq says something like, you know, rap music started with Foundational Black, and then I hear Busta Rhymes say something about, oh, foundational music was started with Jamaicans because of Cool, I think Cool Herc, right?
Hmm. Cool Herc. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it,
that's
yeah,
a
with
that's
the
a
whole,
myth.
yeah, so with the whole Cool Herc, that's where they're trying to get this thing where Jamaicans started rap music. I'm telling you, my dad was, I really wish that God had spared my dad uh, a good amount more alive before he had perished. Because if my dad was alive today, he would really break down that stuff, and probably Tyreek would probably use him in the inside the
In the movie,
documentary.
he sounds
My
thorough as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was real thorough with it. Man, he knew music like it was no. That's why I have an ear for music. So when like I say, he was breaking all that stuff down with the ska music and all that. And you know, the Jamaicans with the speaker boxes and all that. Yeah, Jamaicans had speaker boxes out there. I don't know who pioneered the whole speaker box thing, but that was a thing with Jamaicans because remember in Jamaica, we're dirt poor. It's not like we had money like that. So it wasn't facilities to host parties. We had to
Hmm.
go out back and bring the speakers out back. So it wasn't like that was something that was a creative thing. It was just something that you had to do because you didn't really have no facility to hold people in there. We had
Right.
parties in backyards and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So, like I said, the whole thing of it was Foundational Blacks started hip hop. You had the Hispanics and the Jamaicans and all that that did come in and do their part in assisting with it. But as far as creating it, nobody created it but Foundational Blacks. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to let that out there because we're getting off into our talks tonight about hip hop and the powers of hip hop and how it became so powerful. So with that being said, you know, go ahead. You guys definitely say your part about hip hop before we get into it and let us know how powerful it was and what you noticed and what it is you wanted to put out there before we
Woo,
get into it.
woo. Where do I even begin, bruh? I mean, like, I grew up on hip hop, man. Like, when I first started listening to hip hop, I was living in Atlanta at the time. I was a kid. I think
Yeah.
the first hip hop songs that I really started getting into, I'm telling my age now, was the Fat Boys,
Yes.
Houdini. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Houdini, the Fat Boys, Curtis Blow, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five, all those type of cats. Like that's what I was
Yeah.
listening to when I was a kid. Back in Atlanta is when I really started getting into it. I'm from Miami, but when I was living in Atlanta, I started really getting into it. Getting the tapes and all that stuff and writing my little poetry or
Yeah.
whatever. And I mean, by the time I was like, I think 9 or 10 years old, I was rapping. I was writing full-fledged rap songs. I've been signed
Mhm.
to a label. I've been, on tour. I've done this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've always respected the culture. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's job one. We gotta say it. We gotta put it out there. I'm right there with you, bro.
Mhm.
Foundational Black American culture is hip hop, and hip hop is foundational Black American culture. That's the long and short
Mhm.
of it. There is no, remixes to that. That's
And
it.
what's your background?
my background, I'm American and I'm also African. So
Exactly.
I have foundational Black American on one side and African on the other side.
Yeah.
So, and even in my own family, we have talked about this or whatever the case may be. And, I've heard some people try to, now that hip hop is a worldwide phenomenon, you know, everybody be trying to latch on. Well, it really comes from here. It really comes from here. And, it's really the ancient griots in Africa. That's really where it comes from, or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
And if we keeping it a buck, man, the people in my family, in my own
Mhm.
family, when hip hop was
Yeah.
coming up, my pops used to tell me, "Oh, it's just a fad. It's never going to catch on. It's just something that's going to be here, for the short term, whatever the case may be."
Yeah.
My pops, he did not like hip hop for nothing back in the days. Totally different
Yeah.
from your pops. My father's a musician. He plays guitar.
Yeah.
He does all that stuff, but he could not stand rap. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I remember but with him it's more of a thing like when I first started really getting into hip hop is when NWA came out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that was gangster rap. It was dirty. My aunt, she's a hardcore Christian. She wasn't feeling it, whatever the case may be. So they used to take my tapes. I couldn't even listen I had to sneak and go listen to Too Short.
Yeah.
And I used to live in the Bay when NWA was straight out of Compton came out. Easy Does It, based on a true story, all that stuff, Too Short first album. I was out there when I really, really got into it. And it was a whole gang scene and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
he really, he thought I was going to get sucked into it and end up in a gang or something. You feel
Mhm.
me? So he really had a fervent ass hatred for it, you know. And even now, now it's a worldwide phenomenon, he love it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he be trying to talk about how, not quite trying to sell the griot thing, but talking about, well, some of this stuff is some of the stuff Africans used to do thousands of years ago. I'm like, nah, bro. Wait a minute. Because I was there when you were taking my tapes and saying that this shit wasn't real and it was going to be gone in the next 5 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that didn't go over well, but hip hop, it's a big deal, man. Because it is, to quote a Tribe Called Quest, and my favorite album from them is People's Instinctive Travels and the Path to
Mhm.
Rhythm. There's a
Mhm.
song on there called Youthful Expression.
Yeah.
And if I were to describe hip hop in a song or in a phrase, it
Mhm.
would be that hip hop
Yeah.
is youthful expression, like, but the real kind. Not just some kid talking stupid or whatever the case may be. It has its elements, the graffiti and the DJ and the B-boy and the MC and, all of those things. And, there's also an unspoken element of hip hop, which is resistance.
Yeah.
And that's actually my favorite element of hip hop. That's why I gravitated to NWA. That's why I gravitated to Public Enemy
Mhm.
and so forth, because that element of resistance really resonates with me. That's who I am at my core. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I come from, the lineage on both sides of revolutionaries. I have activists in my family on my mother's side, foundational Black American side, and
Mhm.
also in Kenya, my father's side. I have
Yeah.
uncles that were part of the Mau Mau rebellion where they ran the British out of Kenya. It's in my blood. It's in my psyche. You know what I'm saying? So something like hip hop, it was almost like the perfect storm. What else would I gravitate to? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really, really I started liking hip hop, like I said, and dibbling, dabbling in it, and even writing it when I was a small child. But I fell in love with it around the first time when Public Enemy came out, the second time when NWA came out. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this is my shit. You know what I'm saying? And like that's when I just became the personification of hip hop. Like, and I just started studying it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But yeah, I got the whole resume, man. I used to be a dancer back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Beating
Yeah.
on the table, getting sent to detention, writing raps. I
Okay,
mean,
Magic Mike.
you did. It was just, man. I could, like I said, man, I could teach a class on hip hop with no notes. I love it. I hate to see the phase that it's in now. You
Yeah.
understand? But hip hop is extraordinarily powerful, and I would like to challenge, more of our up and coming brothers, to get out here and use hip hop, um, for good. Use hip hop to benefit the community again, because it used to speak to you in a way that nothing else could. You
Yeah.
know. So I'll land my plane there for now. I'll get back. But yeah, man, I just get hyped just talking about it, man. I love hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Uh
What's
huh.
your
Ooh.
testimony, Bobby?
Oh man. So I'm a little younger than you guys when it comes to the age thing and the culture and everything. But also in addition to that,
Mhm.
unlike you guys, I wasn't brought up on hip hop. So hip hop was something that I came into the knowledge of later on in life as a
Mhm.
young child. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
when I was coming up, there's a lot of gospel and contemporary Christian and some jazz music that my mom was big on. So that's a lot of the things that I was hearing around me. And then later on, when I was a kid, they run these little ads for the different music albums
Mhm.
back when they had like now that's what I call music and all these compilations and CDs. So
Mhm.
being a kid, I went ahead and just snuck made a phone call, hit the 900 number one time,
Yeah.
placed my order for these. I think it was like BMG. Was that Sony
Yeah.
BMG?
Yeah.
Back
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
like they had those things where you get like
Like
four, five,
two.
six CDs or whatever for like one
Yeah.
Yeah,
penny or
for like
something.
1 cent. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So
I remember that.
so in full youthful wickedness, I go ahead, I place the order, and I know damn well they can't do nothing about it because I'm just a kid. What you gonna do? You gonna stick me with the bill I can't pay for? My
Yeah.
parents don't know about it, so I pull the whole, I'm just a child, I don't know any better type
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah.
And I just did that based off because I like music,
Right.
Mhm.
but I didn't know music like that, so I just went based off of what looked good, what albums looked the best. So I think the first CDs I ever picked up was back when Hanson dropped Mbop,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sugar Ray and their Lemonade and Brownies album, and
Mhm.
Matchbox 20, Yourself or Someone Like You. So that was like my first bits of music right then and there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my background for the longest time. This was the music that I knew, and I kind of gravitated towards that kind of music. It was poppy, it was fresh, and it was kind of energetic.
No doubt.
Music you could feel it was different. It was different what other people were listening to me around me as well. And
Mhm.
then I remember when I got into elementary school in fourth grade. There wasn't a whole
Mhm.
bunch of black kids in my class either. There was about maybe two or three other people besides myself.
Yeah.
And one of my classmates was listening to, I think it was Fat Joe's Bet Your Man Can album. And so I
Okay.
just heard her, we were on a break. She was bumping on her CD player like it was good. I'm like, hey, what you listening to? So she let me listen to it. I'm like 30 seconds in, I'm like, whack.
Yeah.
I heard it like, I'm like,
It
okay, cool. I respect that that's what you listen to, but doesn't do anything for me.
was
I was
underwhelming.
fourth grade. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it did nothing to me. Now, mind you, of course, I'm a kid. I'm not deaf. The radio was on. Power 96 was big. 99 Jams was big.
No
Hot
doubt.
Yeah.
105. So I'm hearing rap and other music on the radio, whatever. But as far as what I'm actually listening to, actually clinging to something, I didn't have
Mhm.
that yet. So
Mm.
then
Gotcha.
fast forward a couple years, I hit middle school, junior high,
Yeah.
and one of my classmates had their CD player on. He was bumping some music or whatever,
Mhm.
and I could kind of hear a little bit. I heard like the little boom bap in the distance. Like, hey, that sounds kind of good. I'm like, hey, what you listen to? So he goes ahead, he shares his headphones with me, and all of a sudden, he rewinds the track, and all of a sudden, I just hear this weird little chinky Asiatic type beat kick off, and all of a sudden, I hear this voice come in and kick off with one for the treble, two for the bass. Welcome to the great, incredible paper chase. Keep your boots laced if you want to keep pace. And all of a sudden, I hear this other dude, oh no, niggas are scared to hustle. And my first real introduction
Yeah.
was, and I think it's probably one of the best introductions at that time that you could have, was the Lyricist Lounge. I'm listening to Mos Def, I'm listening to Nate Dogg, I'm listening to Pharoah Monch, and
Mm.
15, 20 seconds in, man, it was
Woo!
Yeah.
the hooks was in, man. The the
Yeah.
Bruh.
the
Yeah.
cocaine took a hold, man. I'm like, I don't know what the hell this is, but yo, let me listen to some more. This he
Definitely.
ended up sharing his CD player with me for like half the day, and dude became my best friend after that. Literally hip hop right off beat. Helped me forge a quality relationship with this person, man.
Yeah.
And ever since then, hip hop was what I was into. That was my thing. That was my flavor. That's what I was into. And so I still like other music. I always had an open, especially because I had that introduction to other stuff much earlier. So music in
Mhm.
general was never one dimensional with me, but hip hop at that moment became the first love for me. And one of the things that I had to do battle with during childhood because I moved around a lot. I was used to being the new kid frequently. I get picked on, I get bullied and stuff.
Mm.
And so, I
Mhm.
definitely had a temper early. I had, I wouldn't say anger issue, but I definitely had a temper. It didn't take much to get me riled up. And, I was getting a point now where I got in trouble so much that, there wasn't too much more of me. I was approaching my third strike in some cases, so things were looking like it was going to be a lot more heated. Might have to move schools. It's possible I might even be getting kicked out of school at one point.
Mhm.
And I heard once I saw the video first.
Mm.
I saw the video for it first, and I heard this amazing voice. The minute I heard this song, like it had such a peaceful, calming effect on me, and it was Nas's One Mic.
Mm.
Ever
Mm.
since that, and ever since I experienced that moment, anytime where I was experiencing an issue at school, or when I was in a case where I knew I was about to blow up, I was about to lose my temper, do something I was going to regret, I would, isolate myself, get by myself. I would put that song on, and I would just listen to it, and I would just literally feel it, speak to me, speak to my soul, my spirit, and it was like everything was just being vented out of me, and I can go on
Mm.
about my day all good.
Mhm.
And I later went on and got Nas's Godson album. To this day, that's still in my top three of albums. Period. The diversity of the album, the different contexts he talked about. He had, the braggadocio was on there. At that time he was dealing with his mother fighting cancer and going with chemo and everything. So
Right.
there's a lot of different things that I could cling to in that album. I had songs I can get happy to, songs that I could, be mad to, songs where I
Mhm.
could just, commiserate with. So it was a complete experience on wax for me in that time. And so I was able to come into contact with a lot of good quality music. And really, that's when I was able to understand the power that hip hop possesses, how it
Mm.
can be beneficial, how it can be therapeutic, how it can be something that, can really be more than just music. And of course, being so caught up in the music like that, it only became natural that I would start creating music. And so,
Yeah.
uh, got in a band. Now I'm in a position where I'm able to create music. So I'm not just taking in music in my ears, but I'm also creating music. And so, I had that hip hop influence in a lot of the music I played as well. And
Mhm.
so it just did so much. Music really helped me build a life for myself and really make my way through life and understand life. It allowed me to just experience the full range of humanity,
Mhm.
really.
Yeah.
Um, and to this day, a lot of the different ways that music was created, the samples that were used in a lot of those hip hop tracks that I liked, created that curiosity. So I'm trying to find, okay, well, where's this song coming from? And so a lot of
Mm.
classic soul joints it put me up on. So my love for R&B and soul was also developing in this time.
Mhm.
So really, it really served as a skeleton for me to really, put together how I see music, how I value music,
Mhm.
what it can do, and then of course all the other elements. The dance culture was something I was never a dancer, but I appreciated the dance aspect of it. I appreciate the art, the language, the slang that came out of it, just the culture. Just hip hop, just to me became the definition of what creativity was. Like
Mhm.
this was imagination made manifest.
Real talk.
Expressing, and then of course once you understand the background of uh, black people, especially on this in this country, on the soil, and the hardships, the struggles, the adversity, and how hip hop was originally created to speak to that, to give that outlet. It just made everything make sense. So,
Yeah.
um, but that was my background. That was my coming into it and the appreciation for it. And to this day, it's done so much for me. It continues to do a lot for me. Um, and so I definitely see it as an indisputable, indispensable part of not just our culture, but culture, period. Because we see now hip hop is so ubiquitous. You almost can't cut a successful movie soundtrack without a hip hop joint somewhere
Mhm.
in there. Um, Even in mainstream areas that wouldn't be considered black or urban, and you can't cut all these McDonald's commercials are being cut with it, Burger King commercials, the style, even in news media, you hear all kinds of slang and stuff being slipped in, and it's just taken over the whole planet.
Real talk.
Hip hop is the culture; it's the preeminent culture. And anytime there's any sort of burst anywhere in anything, there is some hip hop influence somewhere in it. It's just that seed that gives birth to so much. And
Mm-hmm.
so, in some ways, it's kind of been a little disappointing some of the avenues that it's taken. But what's been there is still there, and there are other different branches that have popped up off the tree that have led to more positive outcomes as well too. So, uh, the way I like to think of it is what Mos Def said way back on the song called "Fear Not of Man." And in the intro, it's kind of long, but he really gets in his philosophy on hip hop, and he's saying, a lot of things have changed. And he says, when people ask him, what's getting ready to happen with hip hop, and he said, the answer is whatever's happening with us. If we smoked out, hip hop is going to be smoked out. If we're doing all right, hip hop is going to be doing all right. He said, people like to talk about it like it's some kind of giant living in the hillside that comes down to visit people. But he's saying, we are hip hop, me, you, everybody. So if you want to know where hip hop is going, you got to ask yourself, where am I going? How am
Yeah.
I doing? And that's
Yeah.
when you get an idea of that it's about the people. And so if you want better hip hop, you have to have better people.
Yeah.
They said, he just it's a whole little thesis that he wrote down that, but it's really so succinct and so clear. He's like, people get better when they start to understand that they're valuable. And not because of money or because of their looks or that's sexy, but because they've been created by God, and God makes you valuable.
Yeah.
Whether you recognize that or not, it's about understanding that and then building and moving based off that value. If you're a valuable person, then you're not going to conduct yourself any old kind of way. There's going to be a certain way you carry yourself. There's going to be a certain way you think about yourself, and that's going to look differently. So, um, just for those people who are critics of it, the answer isn't to try and tamp down hip hop. That's just that's trying to take away the sneezing or the coughing, and the problem is the person has the flu or the cold. You got to fix the source.
Yeah.
And that's when you start getting better outcomes. So hip hop can be as positive or as negative as we want it to be. It's up to us
True.
at the end of the
Correct.
day.
All true.
Correct.
All right.
I think a lot of times people, I think that's a great point that you make because a lot of people don't understand. We want to make this kind of BS argument about, well, we did the same worst music back in the days that's going on right now. And that's not true. Yes, we had degenerate music when we were growing up, but we had a great, more diverse and powerful influence to balance us out on both
True.
sides. So even though I can go out here and represent with an NWA, I can then turn off the NWA and put me back into a mood of Tribe Called Quest or Far Side or De La Soul that was out here bringing me on the conscious level on the Zulu Nation. So it was a balance that was pretty much out here. So you get the best of both
Right.
worlds. It was kind of like how, as a person, you're not fully functional if you're on one extreme and the other. What I mean by that, if you're a person that is book smart and you go out here and you know everything in a textbook and everything like that, it's all good. It sounds good, right? You want your child to be so knowledgeable on the book side and away from the streets. But then that book smart person can't really function when they go out here on the streets because somebody is going to get in their pockets because this child that you grew up, you didn't apply no street smarts to balance them out. So now because your child doesn't have any street smarts, they don't have the logic and knowledge to identify what is going on that may sit back and move them away from a scam or being scammed by somebody because they're just thinking from the logical book side that everybody's good in good faith and good behavior when
Right.
that's far from the truth.
Real
So
talk.
then on the other side of it, you got somebody out here in the streets and doing all of that, and they don't have any book smarts. When they go out here, they can't progress because the level that they're on is not going to be a progressive level. It's only going to leave them stagnant and be in situations that create more of a downfall because I can't get up into the world on an intellectual level or, level up. I'm going to sit here and scratch and claw with other people that's scratching and claw. And that leads to more domestic violence. That leads to more, I mean, not domestic violence, but proximity violence, and black on black crime. So instead of me progressing on a book smart level, I'm going to be out here just trying to get it by how I get it. When we grew up, we heard a lot of I get it by how I live. You know what I'm saying? And that mindset will either run you into the jailhouse or put you 6 feet under. So you have to have a balance. Once you have a balance of both sides, then you understand what it is. Like all three of us here, we have a balance. You can sense we have a balance on life itself. So when we go out here, we understand both sides of the game and we know how to navigate through this world called life in a more efficient way than most other people don't. So I think with hip hop gave you that balance because when we were growing up, we understood we didn't have to be out in the streets to get the street game because we could listen to NWA, we could listen to Spice One, we could listen to there was so many West Coast rappers. What's his name?
Mac 10,
Scarface.
Rapid
Mac 10,
Scarface from Texas.
Exactly. So, we had so many different gangster, quote unquote, gangster rappers or street guys or street OGs that was out here doing their thing. Even if I wanted to listen on the East Coast, I had what's the guy that everybody says Nas followed or copied his style?
Rakim is the guy, but Kool G Rap is the gangster.
Kool G Rap, yeah, Kool G Rap.
Kool G Rap gangster as fuck.
Yes, yeah.
Oh my God,
Kool G Rap. I love Kool G Rap. Right, Kool G Rap was a spitter. He was a spitter and he was street dude. So I didn't have to go in the streets to get the street knowledge, to get the street lingo, to understand how they operate in the streets. I could just put on one of those rap records and they was already pouring out information and game on the LP. So, as me being on the book side, I can go ahead and get the street game from it. And then I can be a more balanced person. Just like somebody from the street could listen to Farside or Tribe Called Quest or Ras Kass or, somebody that really was out there doing some real intellectual stuff. De La, KRS-One, these are the preachers and teachers of how to get that stuff on the book side. So even the street dudes, had a lot of stuff that they were gaining from that balance as well. So it made it where even if we crossed paths in real life, he understood me and I understood him. But we don't have that balance now. And then a lot of people are running out here lost. And that's why we're having a lot of confusion. And a lot of people are out here just really running themselves down and pushing each other in a direction that is not very prosperous for anybody, especially in our community and our society. Right now, we had gang bangers back then, but they had a code of conduct. They had a code of essence about what they were doing and how they were doing it. Remember, I told y'all stories before. When I was growing up, there was gang members outside that used to tell me like, yo, you were good kids. Stay in school, because if I see you out here, I'm gonna kick your ass. And I'm gonna tell your father, I'm gonna tell your mother. And
me too. Yeah.
They're gonna kick your ass too. So we had dudes out here that really they knew that they weren't doing really good, but their way of giving back and keeping peace for themselves was to make sure that the good kids wasn't getting involved in the bullshit. So that was their way of being God's vessel in that aspect of it. It's no different than Bumpy Johnson, selling drugs to people, killing people, and then coming to the hood with a goddamn big ass U-Haul truck and handing out fucking turkeys, or giving the pastor $5,000 and say, hey, make sure everybody out here can pay their bills, if they come to your congregation. It was just a balance of what they were doing. They knew they were doing some messed up stuff, right? But they also went and they also, helped the community in various ways as well. Started different businesses and everything like that. So there was a balance with them as well. But now you don't have that. Even our drug dealers now, they don't have a balance. It's just blow the money and just not even thinking about the future, or blowing money and not even thinking about using some of that money to build some new businesses and stuff like that. Remember, a lot of your businesses back in the days was funded off of, drug dealers. They came to our ancestors came to them for a loan that the banks wasn't giving, and that's how you started. So a
Yeah.
lot of your family recipes and a lot of your family businesses that's thriving now came off the backs of a lot of these drug dealers and people that ran numbers. So there was a purpose. There was a code of essence, a code of conduct, a consciousness, even in the most rugged and
Real talk.
deceitful type of person had a conscience to say, damn, you know what? I know this is messed up, but I'm gonna balance it out and go do this for the Parkers down the street or the Johnsons down the street. I'm gonna help them out and make sure they're good. And you know what? It was even though that our ancestors knew that these drug dealers was out here doing bad, a lot of times our ancestors had empathy, they had sympathy, and they always talk to them and be like, you're a good kid, or this, you should stop what you're doing, get back on the right track, or whatever the case. But it was always a mutual respect.
True.
But even though our ancestors was always trying to tell them, like, leave that. I know you're doing your little good stuff on the side, but overall it's still damaging our community. So leave that.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely wanted to say that aspect of it, and let you guys know we did have a balance. And I'll turn it over to you guys so you can chop up on that if you want.
Yeah, balance is important, man. Balance is everything. Not only did a lot of these guys who was doing the street stuff, contribute in the community, in the general community, but as far as just how we got the way we got as far as civil rights, a lot of people don't realize, man, a lot of these hood cats, a lot of these street dudes, they were bankrolling, a lot of these civil rights icons, like you said, because they couldn't get the loans from the bank, nobody else will fund them, whatever the case may be. Bumpy Johnson protected Malcolm. You understand what I'm saying? You had other cats out here, they would break bread all the time. You have even the sisters, Aretha Franklin. She gave a lot to the civil rights movement. Billie Holiday, these type of people, that's why I don't have patience for a lot of these artists that are out now. Artists that are out now are like, $50 million slaves. At the end of the day, they don't do nothing for their community. They don't even think about it. This is why I don't respect people like A$AP Rocky. You know what I'm saying? And Young Thug. They asked Young Thug about, what was going on, or how he felt about the killings or whatever. I think it was Mike Brown. I think both Young Thug and A$AP Rocky, they asked both of them. It was either Mike Brown or Alton Sterling, one of them. And Young Thug was like, man, I don't care about that. That's the politicians and all them. That's their bullshit. I don't care about none of that. I'm flossing this ice. I'm this and that. And now look where he is. Now look where he is today.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And this is, goes back to what Dr. King said about, a justice, something akin to how do you say? I want to paraphrase an injustice in one place is basically akin to an injustice anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And Young Thug is, I don't wish ill on any brother. I don't like to see brother locked up or whatever the case may be, but he makes all this toxic ass music, and he shrugs off, the people in his community that actually matter. He don't care about them. And it's his own toxic music now that's got him in hot water. They moving the goalposts. They done got some elected coons in Atlanta that are, taking music now and using music as evidence, which has never been done before. That's something that, they only do it just for black people in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And we have to be very careful about that. That's a very dangerous precedent to set, because anybody can say anything on a song. You feel me? And, so it's a very slippery slope there, but the balance, back to the balance point, right now it's just all negative. And A$AP Rocky also said something very coonish. with regards to, lives being lost out here, at the hands of crooked cops or whatever the case may be. That's why I don't respect either of them. But back in the day, hip hop had a conscience. You understand what I'm saying? Like, these brothers and sisters were speaking.
Yeah.
They had whole songs like Self-Destruction, where the whole hip hop community came together. Even if you wasn't on the song, you was in the video, and y'all was spitting that message. Black people, you headed for self-destruction. You understand what I'm saying? The West Coast did one later, when gang violence got out of control. We're all in the same gang, Let's stop the gang violence because we're all on the same team. That was important, man. And even like you said, the most gangster, most thuggish rappers still had a conscience. NWA was on that record. We're all in the same gang. You understand? Ice-T was on that record. Some of the most gangster ass rappers were on that record. You feel me? And it was to stop the violence. It's like, okay, we got our street business. We not perfect individuals. We the gift and the curse in many ways or whatever. But we don't want it to go down in the community where the community is destroyed. We want to contribute to the community. That was the general consensus. And for every negative record you had a positive one. Now that rap has become corporatized, you understand what I'm saying? It's bought and paid for. Basically, rappers don't have a soul. They don't have a conscience because they don't feel like they owe anything to the community. It's all about the bag. It's become a multi-bajillion-dollar industry. And so you got niggas quick to crack open their booty hole and just sell their goddamn soul. You know what I'm saying? That's what's really going on in hip hop today. And that's why I've lost so much respect for it. There was somebody who put up a post the other day talking about how, all you old heads, y'all just hateful and jealous and, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And nah, it's not that. In every era up until now, I can name greats in hip hop. Can we all not agree on that? You know what I'm saying? You had the Houdinis and the Run DMCs, and then you had the Rakims, the Kool G Raps, the Big Daddy Kanes. You had that whole era, KRS. Then you had Nas and Jay-Z. I'm sorry, Tupac and Biggie. That era. Then you had the Nas and Jay-Z's, and then Kendrick and J. Cole. I think was the last iteration of that. You know what I'm saying? And like now, who's the great for this generation? You know what I'm saying?
Kendrick,
but they're not this generation. That's what I'm saying. That's the last iteration. I'm talking about now.
JID. You gotta add JID in there. I love that.
Who?
JID.
I don't even know who that is. Who's JID?
Yeah,
he's one of the he's another one of the Dreamville artists.
He's who?
He's one of J. Cole's artists on Dreamville.
Yeah,
you probably heard a song or two of his and just didn't know that's who he was. But
okay. Now look, he might be dope and that's cool, but like, to go back to the broader point I'm making. Back then, the big time artists got the shine. I don't even know who this guy is. You know what I'm saying? The big time artists were in the forefront. Look how hard Rhapsody has to work, for instance, to get some recognition.
That's true.
You got all these I'm a hoe rappers out here.
Yeah.
Just blowing the hell up.
Yeah.
As long as your message is I'm a hoe, I don't have no respect for myself, I'm a piece of shit, you gonna blow up. Rhapsody can rap circles around any one of these females. 3DNC is another one. Beast. I haven't had a chance to listen to Shy, what's her name? Ciroc?
Ciroc.
My bad. I haven't had a chance to listen to her, but I will this week.
I know.
But
I told you I'd know when you heard her. I told you I would know. I told you.
Ciroc, I'm gonna look out for her. But I'm just saying, if you're a female rapper, it's almost like you have to sell your soul in order to even get a damn deal, bro. You understand what I'm saying? That's and a male rapper too, really, for the most part, because Kendrick and J. Cole, they're veterans now. I'm asking, who are the greats of this generation right now? I don't really see nobody. Lil Baby can rap his ass off. He can rap, but what's his content? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what I'm looking for the greats. Like, it's like we thrown
'Cause-
away the lyricism aspect of hip hop, and like, okay, we don't want to hear y'all niggas talking about nothing. We just want, clever punchlines and a dope beat. That ain't hip hop.
Yeah, yeah. Because Lil Baby could rap, but the thing about it is he doesn't have anything that stands out. Everything is pretty much on the same basis of his lyrics. There's no
Right.
real one lyric that stands out.
Right. He really rap his ass off. But my thing, I agree, kind of, it's all pretty much the same, but also he don't have no substance. This is why I say, if people ask me who the greatest rapper of all time is, Tupac is hands down the greatest rapper of all time. Yeah, there might be other rappers who got better punchlines and more hits or whatever, but do you hear the shit Tupac talks about? Are you got your goddamn mind, boy? That man is a problem just based on what he's saying. KRS is the same way. You know what I'm saying? Rakim is the same way. Nas is the same way. These guys are talking about something. That's why I can't put Lil Wayne on my top 5 or top 10 or even barely makes my top 20. He don't talk about nothing. You understand? Like these hip hop artists nowadays, they don't have nothing to talk about. Queen Latifah was talking about this just the other day. You know what I'm saying? About how, today's rappers, they just they don't care about their community. There's so many issues out here that's going unaddressed. Rap used to be like the CNN, of the industry. That was our CNN. That was our news network, the colored news network. You feel me? Rappers don't talk about nothing no more. You know what I'm saying? And that's just where we are right now, man. There is no balance. It's all, rappers now. If we keep it at a buck, we listen to the average rap song, the average rap cat. They make money. All they talk about is money. I ain't mad at the money conversation. Braggadocio has always been an element of hip hop. Okay, fine. But damn, I mean, that's all you talk about? Money, promiscuous chicken heads, and being a goddamn junkie. Not even selling drugs, but being a junkie. You know what I'm saying? When did that shit become cool? You know what I'm saying? Like, really?
Right. It went from rapping about moving dimes, moving nicks, being on the block trapping. It used to go from that. Now it's about you doing the drugs.
You doing drugs. You a damn crackhead, and you proud of it. It's bad, man. Like it's bad.
I
It's some
take
of
a
the
Molly
beats,
when I'm such and such.
Yeah.
And that was the downfall of Mac Miller. I really like Mac Miller, man. Mac Miller was a dope MC.
Okay.
But the downfall was the drugs. It's like he became just a dope head. Like it was.
I'm
crazy.
just saying. That shit ain't never been cool. Meek Mill talked about that. Like, how he just started doing drugs because of peer pressure. Because of peer pressure. That's it. Him and his boys always used to think that doing drugs was for losers. And it is for losers. See what I'm saying? I'll stand up and say that. You see me if you got a problem with that. I'll say it with my chest. You know what I'm saying? If you out here and you just a goddamn junkie, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing cool about that. Yeah. And why you try to make it cool is beyond me. Like, because when you don't have no control over what you're consuming, that makes you unhealthy. It puts your body in a state of dis-ease. That's why they call it disease. You know what I'm saying? And we need to start treating.
But it makes you a target. It makes you an easy target. You're not a threat.
We need to start treating. Yeah.
And if you look at a lot of things that we deal with, a lot of these, and this isn't necessarily to unnecessarily slander those who have been victimized, but in a lot of these cases, when you look at all the different kinds of actions that have been taken against us, a lot of these victims, whether it's the race soldier violence from those wearing badges or the deputized ones who are civilians, whatever.
Yeah.
Very seldom do you see these people going up against, the strongest, the smartest, the toughest, the best of us. Usually they're going for soft targets. They're going for individuals who are by themselves or alone, or they high, they drunk, or they out their minds, but they're otherwise not with it. I remember a post that Rizza Islam, shout out to the brother. Also he beat his court case. They had him in and out of court for the longest time. He finally beat his case. Super thrilled for the brother.
Shout out to our
But I
brother.
remember a post when he was on an airplane. He was flying, and he was sitting there, and he was just reading his book, big old book as usual. And then he posted a simple caption on it saying, "Tell me what you noticed about this picture. What stands out about this picture?" Didn't look like anything out of the ordinary, though. He was wearing like a tracksuit, like sweatpants, sweatshirt, whatever. Just reading. People saying things
Hmm.
like, "Oh, the outfit's all black," or "Oh, you're sitting in first class," whatever. Whole bunch of different comments. Someone made the observation, and you can tell that this is a person who's also on that same wavelength. That's why that stood out to them like that.
Mhm.
And someone stood right there and said, "I see what it is. He's dressed comfortably, but he's ready for anything."
Mm.
And RZA checked off. He gave it a little heart on. He said, "Bingo, dead on." The brother, he's dressed comfortably, casually, but looks presentable. He's got his hat
Hmm.
on, but all the gear he has on, if anything were to go down,
Mhm.
if he was to be accosted or assaulted by somebody, if something happens on the airplane or whatever, the man's ready to move. He's not wearing flip flops and slides where he's going to be twisting his ankles or falling out of his shoes trying to move around, whatever. He's got his little sneakers on, some appropriate socks. He's got some decent pants on, whatever. Nothing hanging or
Right.
sagging, nothing baggy or loose on him, but it's fitted. You know, he's comfortable. He's going to be able to stay warm on the plane. No inhibited movement. And if he's got to go, if it's if he got to
Yeah.
get his WBC or UFC on,
Yeah.
he can do so with
It is.
nothing getting in the way. He's ready for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Real
But when
talk.
you all whacked out and you all zonked out your mind, all you busy thinking about is what I'm gonna get to suck on another glass dick, a rolled up grab a leaf dick or whatever it
Yeah.
is, whatever you jug. The next thing got to shoot or whatever. You're not here. Your mind is elsewhere.
Right.
But you
Right.
still here in the real world with your enemies who are also here in the real world with you. So it's essentially a handicap situation because it's their mind and the body versus just your body because your mind is elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
You easy pickings. Real
Mhm.
talk. We
They don't
can't.
go
We,
after the juggernauts out here. They go after the weak ones.
we can't
Yeah.
afford to be like that. What they say about George Floyd, that he was, he was high off fentanyl or whatever the case may be, and that also gives them an excuse, right? You know what I'm saying? When they
That's something
harm you, whatever
else.
the case may be, it gives them an excuse to say, "Oh, well, it was really this that killed you, and it wasn't that," or whatever the case may be. You
To muddy
know,
the waters.
to muddy the waters. We
And
can't
we know
give
it's
them
BS,
anything.
but if it's legit, I mean, it's because remember, especially when you talk about these legal cases or whatever, all
Mhm.
you need is it doesn't have to be a shutout case of where it's plain and simple. It just has to be able to create a seed.
Mm-hmm. Built
Is
up.
there it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. If there's one piece of doubt that can be implanted where someone can say, well, it's possible,
Mhm.
then
That's
it's done,
it.
it's over with.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thin margin. That's why
It
they say
is.
they have to prove the case. It's on the prosecution to prove their case. As the defense, you technically don't have to do anything, but they have to prove their case past a reasonable doubt. And if there's a legitimate reason where someone can say, "Well, I'm not sure,"
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you know how rarely we ever see justice. You know what I'm saying? So we really, really gotta, get behind this. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And stop giving them excuses. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's a thing. You know what I'm saying? We can't put ourselves in harm's way like that. And that's also an element of hip hop, to just kind of be ready for whatever. You know what I'm saying? It
Exactly.
really is. Because there's always danger afoot. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's what we
yep,
rapping about. Getting, navigating through the danger, navigating through the labyrinth and coming out victorious. That's what we rapping about. So, it becomes a part of you where it's entrenched in you, it's ingrained in you, like, okay, I gotta move a certain way. I can't move like the average person. That's part of why Click connected with us, and it clicked so well because you wasn't gonna get that shit from heavy metal. Heavy metal
Yeah.
wasn't talking about that. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I mean, that's
right,
talking to me. You know what I'm saying? Them white boys, they ain't go through the same life experience we had. You feel me? So yeah. Go ahead. And I know we probably went a little over on that, but man, it was a moment. You
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
me?
no. It was dope.
Yes.
It's dope. No, it
Yeah.
leads me up to the next segment, which is the green flags, right? So the green flags of hip hop that
Yeah.
got me to the next level. I don't know if you guys have any lyrics that you guys want to share, but
Um,
this segment is where I'm going to share some of the lyrics that helped me while I was growing up, and I'm
okay.
just going to explain some of them that I'm going to share with you. All right.
Okay. Go.
So it says, I must admit, on some occasions, I went out like a punk and a chump or a sucker or something to that effect. Respect I used to never get because all I got was upset when niggas used to be like, what's up, fool? And try to sweat a nigga like lip. Nigga, what's up? For some reason at all, I can't recall because niggas throwing C's in my face. Down in the hall, I'm kicking it in the back of school, eating chicken at 3, wondering why everybody's always picking on me. I try to talk and tell them, chill, I did nothing to deserve this, but when it didn't work, I wasn't scared, just real nervous and unprepared to deal with scrapping, no doubt. My pappy never told me how to knock an ear out, but now it's 95. I must survive as a man on my own. Fuck around with fat lip, yes, you get blown. I'm not trying to show no macho it's on, but when it's on, it's on. And that comes from, y'all know who that's from?
Nah. Maybe it's the way
Okay.
you was rapping it. I don't know. Hey,
That
maybe it's the way you was rapping it.
that's
You
far
put your own spin on it. Who is
that's
that?
far side.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
because
thought it
I'm
was
reading
Far
it.
Side. I
Yeah,
thought it
I'm
was.
reading.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm reading it. I'm reading it for the viewers, but I know the cadence was off a bit, but I'm reading it because I'm showing you the lyrics of what it was. It was the fact that when you talking about throwing up C's, he's talking about gang members, like
Yeah.
dudes in school that was out there throwing up Crips. So all in his face, and bullies. A lot of these guys were bullies growing up, and this one hit hard for me because I was always a nerd in school. So a lot of times, getting picked on was pretty common. Um, and I felt like this verse like kept me at it, it kept me humble. It kept me understanding that like we just have ignorant people out here that just want to pick on people because they own personal experiences or something going on with them where they have to feel like they bully somebody else to make themselves feel good.
Right.
So Farside touched on that, and Fat Lip, touched on that side of the bullying, and he was just like, a lot of times when young men get bullied, a lot of times they're from single mothers, and a lot of them don't have fathers to tell them how to kick their ass. You know what I'm saying? Kick other people's ass.
Yeah.
So they
Real
didn't know
talk.
how to fight. So if you don't know how to fight, you're gonna run from it. You know what I'm saying? You're not
Right.
gonna stand up and face it. So I thought this was super dope. How they broke all of that, how he broke all of that down, and it just lets you know that just stand up and just you gotta face your fears at some point. So we might as well just face them when they come in the rise at that point. And I thought that was super dope. That was Far Side. That was Running. The song is Running. You guys could check that out. I
Can't
can't
keep
play
running
these songs on
away.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
can't
shit.
play these songs on here because we'll get strikes. So that's why I'm bringing out the lyrics and
Yeah.
not playing the songs itself. So the next one up I have here, I be hating sucking MCs and the sucking niggas, posing like they hard when we know they damn card. Where you figure? Rhyme wise, I do the figure eight so concisely. Musically, we are the herb, so we sit back and light me. Inhale, my style is kind of fat, reminiscent of a where young girls desire me for females' dreams. I be the abstract poetic representing from Queens. Socially, I'm not the same. Black and white got game. If you came to the jam, well, I'm glad you came. See, niggas first was used back in Deep South, falling
Yeah.
out between the dome of the white man's mouth. It means that we will never grow. You know the word dummy. Other niggas in the community think it's crummy. but I don't, nigga. Neither does the youth, because we embrace adversity. It goes right with the race. And being that we use the term of endearment, niggas start to bug to the dome. If we're in the fair, we went. Now the little shorties all out the time, and a whole bunch of niggas throw the word in they rhyme. Yo, I start to flinch as I'm trying not to say it, but my lips is like a ooh, I'm
As
finna
I
start to
start to
spray it.
spray it, my
My
lips is like
lips
a
is like
ooh up as I start to spray
start to
it.
spray it. So
Yo,
I don't know the
Q-tip,
track, but I know who that is.
Q-tip,
The abstract. Yes,
Q-tip,
sir.
yes, so
peace.
this is from the verse Sucker Niggas
Suck a nigga, yeah.
from one of my favorite albums, which is Midnight Marauders.
Mm,
Oh,
I think that's one of the best albums that ever made.
period.
From
monster.
start to
Period.
finish. Yes, from start to finish, I could just sit back and listen to that whole album. But the reason why I picked Sucker Niggas is because we was talking about that, right? You know, when Major was talking about how a lot of these artists sell their souls, and, for a record deal. And Q-Tip was talking about that. He was talking about how, niggas just doing any and anything out here, and they fake and they not being real. You know what I'm saying? And then they just use the N word like it's just no tomorrow, and it's like, so you using it so much that I'm trying to hold back from using it, but like, fuck it, you suck a nigga, because that's how I feel about you. You know what I'm saying?
No
So I
doubt.
thought that was super dope that, he pointed that out where you're just surrounded by all these fake people that just put you in the line to just curse and call them out by their real name, because you use all the N words so much, but you really the nigga out here being just who you are, you know what I'm saying, and
No
not being
doubt.
real to the game. So I definitely wanted to shout that out, so you guys could go check that out. That is Sucker Nigga off of the Midnight Marauders album. Next up, I have okay, so this goes, Major should know this one. You Are
Yeah.
Appreciated. When I was
Oh,
young and me and my mama had
you already
beef,
know.
17 years old, kicked out on the streets. Throwback at the time, I never thought I'd see a face.
Ain't a
Ain't a
woman
woman
alive.
alive that could take my mama's place.
Yeah.
Suspended from school and scared to go home. I was a fool with the big boys,
Breaking
breaking
all the
all the
rules.
rules.
Yeah.
I shared tears with my baby sister over the years. We
It was
was
poor than other little kids.
Yeah, it was poor than other little kids. And even though we had different daddies, the same drama, we think what
When
when
things went
things
wrong,
was
we
wrong,
blame
we blame
mama.
mama. I reminisce on the stress it caused. It was hell hugging on my mama from the jail cell.
Hmm.
And would have think it's elementary, but hey, I see the penitentiary one day and running from the police. That's
That's
right.
right.
Mama catch me and put a whooping on my backside. And even as a crack fiend, mama,
Mama.
you always was a black queen, mama. I finally understand from a woman it ain't easy trying to raise a man. You was always committed,
A poor
a
single mother
poor
on
single mother on
welfare. Tell me
welfare.
how you did it.
You did it. There was no way I could pay you back, but I
But
have
the
a
plan
plan
is
to
to
show
show
you
you
that I
that I
understand.
understand. Woo!
You are appreciated. So
Dude.
I this one really hit me because a lot of people didn't know that when I was 15, I became um, I became too much for my mother. And when I mean too much for my mother, I wasn't like I wasn't disrespectful to my mother or anything like that. It was just that my father was in another state, so I didn't really have any strong male influentials directly on me like that. So I would follow the wrong crowd, and I remember getting into trouble at school, and they wanted to suspend me, and my mother was like, "You know what? I'm gonna call your father. I think it's time for you to go live with your dad." And I was like, "All right, cool." You know what I'm saying? And my dad was like, yo, send him up here. I'm good. Yo, just send him. You don't got to tell me, just send him. And I went to go live with my dad. And this hit me hard because, my mother tried everything in her powers. And I think a lot of single mothers out here try everything in their powers. And I don't think my mother was single. I wouldn't say single mother, but in the household, she was, pretty much on that level, even though she was married to my stepfather at the time, but he wasn't really a good role model at that. You know, he had his very devious issues, but I think at that time my mother just didn't have an option, no other option but to send me to my father. And I think that was the greatest moment of my life, is to go live with my father, because my father molded me into who I am today. And anytime anybody says anything, um, tremendous or admirable about me, I always credit my father for that. The thing is that my father wasn't anywhere near the level of my mother, but as far as financial wise, but as far as wisdom, he was one of the most gifted and knowledgeable men out there. And I respect my father so much from that. So when Tupac said my mama put a whoop into my backside, my mother was always on me. My mother was always trying to discipline me and doing whatever she could. But it's a different type of discipline. It's a different type of leadership. It's a different type of parenting that comes from a father, that really a mother, no matter how hard she tries, it just doesn't equate on the same level. And this is why statistically you see that single fathers make better parents than single mothers, and that's not to throw shade at women at all. There are single mothers out there that have done incredible jobs, and some even better than the fathers, you know what I'm saying? But we're just saying statistic wise, on a large scale, on a large number, that that's what it really boils down to. So I definitely appreciate Tupac, like you said, one of the most dominant, powerful writers, poets, artists of all time. And I commend him for that. And I had to highlight this song, Dear Mama. This is Dear Mama, if y'all don't know, from Tupac, which was one of the most iconic songs ever written. And it's one of the most powerful songs because we have Mother's Day and things like that. And around that holiday, this is one of the songs that a lot of sons or children would play for their own mother, you know what I'm saying, as showing appreciation. So definitely salute to the mothers out there that's doing their job and everything like that. And much love to Tupac for what he has left behind with his legacy. All right.
Big way. Big way.
Another one when I was growing up was this one. I don't know if y'all know about this. See, I be into music heavy, bro. So this one was, I wish I was 6'9" so I could get with Lishi. What do you say, Leoshi? She didn't know me, but she was really fine. I see her all the time, everywhere I go. Even in my dreams, I can scheme on ways to make her mine because I know she's living fat. Her boyfriend's tall, he plays ball. So how am I going to compete with that? Because when it comes to playing basketball, I'm always last to be picked. In some cases, never picked at all. Yeah. So I just lean on the wall or sit back on the bleachers with the rest of the girls who came to watch their man ball. Dang, y'all. I never understood why the jocks get the fly girls and me, I get the hood rats. I tell them scat, skittle, skedaddle. Got a hit with the bottle and put in the hospital for talking that mess. I confess it's a shame when you live in a city the size of a box and nobody knows your name. Y'all know where that's from?
That's Skilo, man. Okay. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was taller, but that was
shit. Girl who look good, I would call her.
Yeah, so
that's an important song. That's an important song.
Yeah.
You know why? Because the little guy's feelings are being put on Front Street in that song. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a very real song. He's very honest. These rappers be talking about they this, they that, they got all these sticks. A lot of these rappers ain't never seen no females until they got money. If we keep it in a buck. A lot of these rappers are little scrawny ass dudes, all of 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing. You understand? And nobody was checking for them before they had a deal.
Exactly.
And Skilo just put that shit out there. It's like, man, it ain't all that, bro.
Yeah. So I picked this because when this came out, I wrote a song similar to that because I was, like I tell people all the time, I never front like I was a jock or anything like that. I was the nerd. I was the guy who was good at school, had good grades and everything like that, was a charmer, was that guy that anybody could come to and talk to, and things like that. But I was never in the in crowd. So I felt when he said what he said, I felt that as a nerd, you feel that. A lot of nerds ran with this song and felt good about it. That's why this song peaked #1 for a long time, because there was a lot of people out there that felt like that. You know what I'm saying? And he spoke to them. He was like the spokesperson for the guys that weren't getting picked and getting chose like that.
No doubt.
And so I have wrote a song called Wondering Why Fly Girls Don't Never Enter My World, because it ain't the same when chickens enter your brains and constantly be playing games. Wondering why I'm not that guy that they consider to be real fly. Used to sit back and cry while holding my head high to the heavenly sky, praying and begging to die because I would never get no attention. Only time I was mentioned was up in class. Used to score high on the test. Oh, fuck. I can't remember the rest of it. It was so long ago I wrote that.
You was flowing though. You was flowing.
Yeah, it was so dope because it was a theme song, another theme song for the guys who wasn't getting the play that wasn't getting, and I've always been an open book on that. Like, people see me now and they thought I was like this my whole life. I wasn't. And that's where I was going with the balance of everything, being that we grew up on hip hop. I got the balance. I got the suave. I had LL Cool J and all these other guys that were just so suave with it, that would tell you and teach you the game and got your game up. So that way you didn't have to be on that side of the field. It was really more of your confidence and what you knew you were worth. And that's what made the big difference. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I definitely wanted to put that out there. I had to put Skee-Lo. That was a very iconic song, and it was very inspirational for me because, like I said, I wrote a rhyme off of it for the guys, that felt that way as well.
It was a big deal.
Yes, definitely. This one, I shouldn't let you explain. You should just let me explain. I see the games you play. I see the games you be playing. It really is ice in your veins. It's kind of fucking insane, and you're in a power exchange. I guess I'm just out of your lane. I know I'm losing my brain, but I know it's hereditary, baby, because your mama was a G and your daddy wasn't there, so you be trying to play with me. But this ain't the wave. But if I'm keeping it true, I know why I be this way now. We don't speak, we don't say evil things now. We don't sleep no more. We need space now. So go and leave and go and find her a bae now. Ooh, that's the plan. That's the pain. Yeah. Oh, so painful. Trying to change just a lot in the world of, I can't really see it, and I'm not go and interpret it, but this is what I was telling you about, Major. This is from JID. He has a song called Hereditary, right?
Okay.
And this is from Hereditary. And the reason why I picked this song because I had gotten in a relationship with a girl for a long time, and found out like years later that she ended up cheating. And when I broke up with her, this was the song that really put me in the right mind frame to move forward, because I think it's so important. And this is just a transparent moment. It is so important for brothers to kind of focus and align themselves in the right mind frame when something like this happens, because right now we're seeing a whole bunch of domestic violence that ends up being fatal. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because we don't have outlets. We don't, we don't know our worth to the fullest. We don't understand that, it's their loss, not ours. But at that moment, you have everything bottled up and you just say, how the hell she try me like this? You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a person that's being very faithful. And I think this song really put me in the mind frame to really think back on myself, not her, but myself, to know that I have way more to lose than to take it to that next level. And like I said, JID, as a young cat, this is a young dude who's so talented, and he wrote that song, and it just hit home for me. And when I tell you, like I was playing that song at least 2 or 3 times a day, just to get my mind straight. You know, I went through therapy and stuff like that just to get back on track. But he helped me to navigate that way, and I'm just being as real as I can with everybody out here to let you know that it's okay to feel that way. It's okay, you know, because you're human. You're not a robot. You know, things happen. So, you know, channel your ways to make sure that you don't lose everything that you build based on somebody else's actions. And I think that I don't know. I hope one day I can run into JID and tell him about this.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he has stories about other people. But this is why I say when it comes to music, and I know women probably have the same thing when they listen to, you know, Sunshine Anderson, or, you know,
Keisha
maybe
Cole,
a Mary J. Blige or something like that.
Yeah.
Those were songs that probably saved you from taking it to a next level, or, you know, making sure that you didn't take yourself to that level as far as suicide or something like that. You know, that's why I say music is so powerful in the realms where it can save you in so many different aspects. So this was one that really I really gravitate to, and I was really appreciative because in that moment, at that time, I needed this song, and that song just fit perfect, and it guided me right out of that dark space and right into the light. So shout out to JID. It's called Hereditary. If you never heard it, you can check it out, and then you guys can always come back and send us messages and tell us, you know, what we're telling you, certain songs you're hearing from out here, or the rap lyrics, and you let us know, hey, that sounds like a song that might be powerful to me too. You know what I'm saying?
So,
Just give us feedback, all right? All
yeah.
right, so next one we got is definitely on time,
Hey,
right?
hold on
So
now.
this one,
Hold on.
so yeah, so this one really, it
305
really set
stand
the
up.
foundation. Yes, it really set the foundation
That's a
for
big
me
one.
growing up, right?
That's a classic.
Yes, this was a classic. So that's why the JID really helped me out, because I already had this in it as my foundation. When I was growing up, you know, shout out to JT Money. This is his song, Whole Problems. You can check it out. A lot of y'all might be in different areas. Y'all don't know about down south music, Florida music, but this was a pioneer down here. And everybody down here really respect this record because it really set the foundation for a lot. This record right here, no lies, stopped a lot of
Game
domestic
on wax.
violence from going fatal. This
Yeah.
stopped a lot of domestic violence relationships from going fatal. All right, so I'm gonna read the lyrics. Whole problems ain't no problems. Don't hate the game because it ain't gonna solve them. Nigga, you need to let that motherfucker go. Just like you got it, you can find another hoe. See, hoes come a dime a dozen. What you is a nigga hard up, but loving, pushing and shoving. About a woman who giving up ass, homeboy, you bugging. I told you about trusting them stank ass HOs. You gotta learn to work them bitch and for the pesos. Stop tripping about the pussy and cause it ain't yours. Y'all niggas need to learn how the game go. It's a trip, and I would tell your ass no more. Young nigga, put that shit past. No ho. For you, cry like a sucker, go solo. Cause them bitches damn sure will call the popos. When I tell you that this song
That's a
really
classic.
saved the lives of a lot of men,
Yeah.
because it gave them the foundation to like, yo, let that shit go, let your hurt go. You can move past it. Understand that these women, you don't have possessions of it. See, feminists ain't gonna run with this lyrics. They'll tell you, oh, he's calling bitches and pussies and all, but they're not going to tell you that this guy was actually out here protecting women with this song.
Yes, he
You know what I'm
was.
saying?
Yes, he
And
was.
Hmm.
and that's the thing that they're not going to tell you, and I really appreciate that. So you guys, I'll let you guys jump on this because I know you're from Miami. So if you guys want to add on to this before I go to the next one, go ahead.
I mean, the JT Money, there ought to be an award that he got for writing this song. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not talking about women per se.
Hmm.
He's talking about hoes.
He's
Yeah,
talking about who he's talking about. He said what he
And
said.
he's talking
yeah,
about who he's talking about. He said what he said. And he's basically telling the hook of the song goes, let it go. Let it go.
yeah,
If your hoe want a hoe, nigga, let it go. And
yeah.
he's saying, if a chick want a hoe, let her go. Don't get all emotional and involved and start
Mhm.
simping behind her, whatever the case may be. Let her go. It's a line in there. He says, well, what could you do to stop it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You can't do nothing to stop these females that want to be for the streets for being for the street. And
yeah,
JT is wise enough to know that, the average guy, they're not going to stop banging them. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? They're not evolved enough to be able to just leave them alone altogether and just avoid them. No, they're going to take that low hanging fruit and they're going to bang her for, 60 to 90 days or whatever the case may be. But
hmm,
let it stop there. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Don't be trying to
Right.
make a wife out of her. Don't try to. It's just like Nate Dogg talking about. Don't try to turn a hoe into a housewife. It's the
yeah,
same
yeah.
concept. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Let these hoes hoe in peace. You understand
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I'm
yeah,
just saying. That's. I wish I was a baller. I mean, these comments coming in later. Okay, but
yeah,
yeah, that's a very profound message. Basically, guys who are out here that are serious men, good quality, decent stand up guys, don't take hoes seriously.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because they're not to be taken seriously. They're not worth your time. You treat them as good as they are at the end
exactly.
of the day. I take it a step further for me and myself, and the type of cats I run with.
Hmm.
You don't rock with them all together. But
Yeah,
I know who JT's talking to. He talking to the streets. He talking to these guys that's out here. They got a little dirt under their fingernails. Whatever the case may be, and he's telling them, "Hey, man, you know, let the hoes be hoes. Don't
yeah,
try to make a wife out of them. Impregnate them and all this, and expect her to come home and you're gonna have 2.5 kids with her, in the house with the white picket fence and all this bullshit. No, that ain't who she
Nonsense.
is. You dig? That
yeah,
ain't who she is. Leave her, let her be for the streets. Some of these guys who married some of these females should have left them in the streets. Shout out Russell
yeah.
Wilson. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like everybody, you can't you can't domesticate everybody.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And some of these females, they just not high quality females. You gotta leave them where they are and treat them as such. And
Hmm.
yeah, he probably did save a lot of lives, men and women,
Hmm.
with this song because it really resonates with the guys. With the women
Hmm.
too, some of them, but with the guys, it became an anthem because
Yeah,
it was a lot of dudes out here simping behind these damn chicken heads that meant them no good.
yeah,
Yeah.
Catching cases, getting
yeah.
jammed up.
What?
Exactly. Exactly.
Basically speaking to female nature and saying, look, do not go and fool around with a horse and then get upset when it starts eating hay, neighing and whinnying and jumping over fence posts. You upset with this person and you mad they're acting that where they're at, and this is how they're supposed to get down.
That's what
Yeah,
they do.
So if she
yeah,
out here tossing the goods to other dudes, you find out she's cased up, rather than get cased up, getting locked up for putting your hands on her or for doing worse,
Right.
or from
That-
sitting there losing or putting your hands on her, or even just losing your mind is going crazy right there. Basically, he's speaking to the scarcity mindset. Hey, he said, and they said right there, see, they come a dime a dozen.
Mhm.
What you is, nigga, hard but loving. Let them go.
Yeah.
There it is.
There's better out there. There is someone out there. There are women out there who aren't going to conduct themselves in this manner, that aren't going to have you out here down bad like this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go back and try it again. But when you have a scarcity mindset, when you are mentally completely all in on this person, especially they're unproven, and
Mhm.
it goes belly up, that's when you have these dudes that spaz on these crimes of passion and other such. Because for them, it's like the world is ending.
Right.
And here
Right.
comes JT with an anthem that dudes can rally behind and realize, hey man, if she gonna be a hoe, let her be a hoe.
Don't
If you
take it
gonna
Yeah.
personal.
if you gonna deal with one, then understand what it is you're dealing. Don't get caught up. Don't lose sight of what this really is. Okay, so the ride was bound to end at some point. The ride is over. Get off. You can get back in line, or you can go and try another ride in the amusement park. But do not get overly invested in this person, especially if you understand that this person is for a good time and not a long time.
There
Yeah.
it is.
Yep. That's what it is. So yeah, this was a actual classic, very iconic song down here in South Florida, especially in Florida itself. So I definitely want to shout out to JT for setting the foundation, and that's why I never took women serious to that level like that, and never became that simp because of growing up listening to JT and this song that really break the foundation of what life was and how, as a man, like I said, knowing your self worth, walk away from it. Like you say, hoes come a dime a dozen. Keep it moving, keep it
Yeah.
pushing. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
And that's what it was. So yes, shout out to JT Money. Like I said, Whole Problems. If y'all want to check it out, go ahead and listen to it. That's on you. Um, and the next one I have coming up is I'm obsessed with her. I'm at best with her. Thickness surrounds me. I'm blessed by her. See, I've fallen so deep, deep in who she be. Infatuated by the many, many styles of she. I wish I could undress her. I wish I could caress her like she does my soul, but I am so much lesser. She's always there for me when I need her, like my mom's relaxing all my drama. I come into her arms. It's unique that very few people understand how she came into my life and made me a true man, made me thresholds and negative stress stand in my way. But when I'm weary, she comes down from heaven, greeting me slick. If you was in the physical, you would be the best with lips and eyes and hips and thighs and breasts. I put you in too much to take at the time. I push you from my mind and I put you in a rhyme so everyone could get a little taste of your sweetness. Too much passion for self, the mission's incompleteness. I treat this as my first and last and only dope. My chocolate companion descended from above. In and out, I glide and slide, losing my rhythm. God sent you for me, so this can't be forbidden. But you are one for me. And I think I gotta get over she because what do you do when your baby doll is sound? You can freak the tracks, but you can't settle down. The world brings me pain, but she'll take that pain and use it. Nobody can appreciate me like music, sweet music. Ow. So this was a super dope song that
Is that Boogie Monsters?
yes, what do you know about Boogie Monsters, yo?
Oh,
Yo, what do you know about Boogie Monsters? Yo,
I
you're
never
not
even
supposed
heard
to
that
know
shit.
that, Bobby. Yo, you're not supposed to know that, bruh. How
I
you
never even
know
heard
that,
that.
yo?
I didn't even know
That's
that.
crazy. That's
man.
crazy.
Yeah. That's off the Boogie. That's music.
Thresholds.
That's off the Riders of the Storm album, right?
Yeah, Riders of the Storm. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Riders of the Storm album. So yeah, so here's the thing. I met Vex. So Vex is the one, he's the lead singer on this song. He's a little short red dude with the dreads. I met Vex because they're actually from Baltimore. I was in Baltimore that time when they dropped this record. And I met Vex, and Vex is a super dope dude, man. Very intellectual. And this was a very underrated album, man. That album was really, really good. And
Hmm.
I think back then they went gold, which was pretty good for some guys that was really pretty much underground. They weren't really mainstream like that. Um, and yeah, so this song, the reason why I picked this song is actually the same exactness of Common's I Used to Love Her that created the beef between Ice Cube and himself. So
Oh,
just like how you're thinking of it as a woman, Common made you think of this as a woman, right?
Mhm.
And then you found out he was like, damn, he's talking about hip hop. So Vex did the same thing, but he was talking about music. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was super dope that somebody after made something similar, but the way the context of it is, it's also goes for a woman as well. Because I could read this to a woman and she would be like flattered. You know what I'm saying? If that's how a man is expressing himself, how he feels about his woman. So I thought that was super dope that it could be used in both aspects of how the viewpoint is coming at it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this song is Music Appreciation by Boogie Monsters. A lot of people don't know about Boogie Monsters. They really, like I said, they sold 500 copies back then, which was pretty good for an underground
Not
MC.
bad, yeah.
That was pretty good.
that,
That was real good. So yeah, definitely. What you wanted to say something about?
now I was gonna say, that was impressive back in those times when you didn't have streaming, whatever.
Yeah,
People were still moving music out of their trunks and whatever. There wasn't a
yeah,
whole bunch of promo. You really had to rely
exactly.
on local radio play and all that other stuff. So, you know, that's back in those days when sales and numbers meant a whole lot more because you really had to
Yeah,
literally get it out the mud.
yeah,
Like it was
yeah,
no huge engine behind you. Wasn't a whole national campaign to get you out. There wasn't any social media that you can jump on. You were
yeah.
literally relying on the people around you to really, let you know. And also the feedback because of that was almost
Hmm.
immediate. If
Yes.
you had something, your neighborhood, the block was gonna let you know. It wasn't just blind support. Oh, this person's from here. Nah, it's like
Yeah.
to represent us. You got to come correct. It's got to be something like we can really rally behind. So if it was hitting like that, they let you know. And
Yeah.
if it was whack, you wasn't gonna get any play on the radio stations. In fact, the DJs would pick up your record. They'd give it a play right then and there. In some cases, they'd take your record and toss it right in your face, like get this garbage out of here. Like
Like in the movie
the
50 Cent.
no, for
Oh
real.
man.
Back
Yeah.
the DJs, and no disrespect, but DJing as we know it today is a whole different galaxy from what it used to be back in the day. Like back in the day,
Mhm.
the DJ was the gatekeep, was literally the guardian of the sound.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
the DJs were the guardians, the gatekeepers of the culture, and they also
Yes.
understood that and they took that seriously. So any DJ that was at that level back then, even the aspiring ones, they took
Hmm.
that as a calling. You couldn't
Yes.
just
Yeah.
up and call yourself DJ. You had to be someone who really knew the music intuitively. You had to be in
Hmm.
touch with the streets, with the people, what the sound was, what represented. The DJ was basically the oracle or the griot of that day and time
Hmm.
because they made sure that only the top quality reached the ears of the people. And like I said before, if you were garbage, if you were whack, or if you weren't talking about anything, you
Hmm.
would never get any play with them. They didn't do the whole payola nonsense back then. It would have been an insult to try and pay off a DJ to play your record like
Yeah.
that. Because especially if you did that as a DJ, his career could be terminated. Because
Yeah.
if he's out here playing music that he knew was subpar, was garbage, or he's out here doing homie hookups, or he was, essentially getting paid to put tracks on and promoted something that wasn't really organic and authentic to the streets, you know, he would never be able to play his music, his sets. He'd never be able to get any placement at any parties anywhere
Yeah.
because he'd be known as this the dude, man. We don't rock with him.
Yeah.
So it was the stakes were a lot higher back then.
Yeah.
Because I
Hey.
know some people don't understand when some of these old heads, and you do always have in every generation a case of the disconnect where the old heads don't necessarily understand where the new heads are coming from. But you really have to understand what music was, what it meant to people, and how it was deeply implemented in the
Yeah,
culture to really
exactly.
understand some of these things and concepts. And that's why a lot of these old heads come from the perspective that they're coming from. It's like, man, this day would never fly. And they're not necessarily saying that because they're hating or they don't want to see the new generation make music or to
Hmm.
express themselves the way they want to express themselves. But they really understood, man, this really isn't organic.
Yeah,
Who does this resonate with? And if this is resonating with people, what's going on with the people? Where are we right now?
exactly, exactly.
You know,
Yes, yeah, and they show that a lot in the movies where, I think I'm not sure if it was Crush Groovin'. It was one of those movies where they was always carrying their records. Even the Fat Boys, I think the Fat Boys did it in a couple of movies themselves where they were carrying their records and trying to see if it could get played. Um, I think one was it Disorderlies? No, might not have been Disorderlies, but one of them they was definitely carrying around their records. But I'm going to move on to the next song. Where I got two more, and then we're done with my selection, and then you guys can let me know what you guys have or what's up on deck. So this is now. Wait a second. Give me time to explain women and fast cars and diamond rings can poison a rap star. Or suicidal high, smoking so much lie. I saw a dead bird flying through a broken sky. Wish I could flap wings and fly away to where black kings in Ghana stay.
yes,
So I
sir.
could get old, my flesh not away, but there'll be the day when it's the peace, when my gap don't need to spray, when these streets are safe to play, sex with death, indulge in these women, vision my own skeleton swimming in internal fire. Broads play with the pentagrams in their vagina like the exorcist. Then they know they gave birth to my seed. I beg for God's help. Why they love hurting me. And I'm a disciple, a thug, certainly. The N
Then
to the
A to the
A,
SIR,
the S I
and if I
R.
wasn't, I must have been
It must have been
Escobar.
Escobar.
Yeah, that was the shit.
What my waist stared at my reflection in the mirror, sitting still in the chair like my perception. When everything around me get cloudy, the chair become a king's throne. My destiny found me. It's a clear while the struggle was so painful. What song was that, Bobby?
Y- You're the man. You're the man.
One of the
You're
most
the
powerful
man. I
songs.
love that song. Oh my
Yeah,
god, man.
that album got 5 mics. It deserved 5 mics. I thought it was
Damn
one of
right
the
it did.
Yeah, I think it was one of the most very put together, thoughtful
Oh
albums with
man.
production and lyrics. Well deserved to Nas. Nas is one of my top three rappers of all time.
Hmm.
And man, he's just a gifted person that
That
I
album
had to
has so
put
many
that up
bangers
there.
on it, man.
Yeah, it got too many bangers on it.
Ether, got yourself a gun. You're the man.
Oh,
Yes, yes,
Yo, forget what Rewind was ahead of its time, man.
nasty. It's
yes,
still ahead of
yeah,
his time.
yeah,
10 years from
Rewind.
now, that should be ahead of his time. Who writes
yeah.
a song backwards? Who the fuck does that?
Who
Who
gets
does
the idea
that?
and the concept to execute that? Man, I
Who
know
does
back in
that,
those
man?
days, I think before that album, the talk was, everyone gives Slick Rick the title of probably the greatest storyteller in hip hop, especially up at that time.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that album, at least, was when Nas really threw his hat in the ring and let it be known, hey, you can still call Slick Rick number one if you want to,
yeah,
but
Real
that
talk.
that 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 title's not uncontested anymore, man. So
Yeah,
many
yes,
concepts.
yes,
There is the concept that Nas hasn't touched, man.
real
yes,
talk. The boy
yes,
is just
Storytelling is
a
just
problem.
next level, prophetic, profound. That's why he's my goat, man. There's a lot of
yes,
top heavyweights out there, but for me, Nas is that dude, and he's shown that he's also demonstrated one of the rare characteristics in music, period, with longevity. Every
yeah,
single decade since his brother has been out,
hmm,
Yeah.
he's had hit albums and hit records. Even now, he just dropped on Magic 2 the other day. That album is amazing. It's a banger. Um, and he's shown that no matter what, he really has been able to adapt to the times. He's never been one of those artists either that tries to, piggyback on styles, tries to do what's cool or
Yeah,
tries to follow the trend. But he's shown that he can still incorporate some of those newer elements into his stuff and
yeah,
stay
yeah,
relevant. Like he's
exactly.
always on the pulse of hip hop, wherever hip hop is, for
Yeah.
better or for worse. He's always shown that he's right there on the pulse and that he's never out of his element. He's never the old guy trying to fit in. No, he's right there setting the tempo, really setting the pace and showing that, hey
Yeah,
man, I'm almost the turtle in this thing. It's just amazing, man.
Real
exactly.
talk. Listen,
So dope.
I'll take a slight exception. He did, for the most part, not do that. There was a time when he was trying to fit in, but he got out of it quickly,
Yeah,
and
he was
that was good.
early in his career. Yeah, he was trying to find himself. He didn't really learn who he was yet as
Yeah,
an artist. He was still trying to
yeah.
do some things, experimenting. I know there's a lot of conflict that he felt as well, because he was kind of torn in between two worlds. He was this underground dude the way he came up, but a lot of his projects ended up tossing him in the mainstream. So then there was this pull between, am I going to be a mainstream artist? Am I going to be true like the underground backpacker type scene? Like, where do I fit in? And a lot of artists, a lot of his contemporaries would challenge him on that as well too. I know there was big beef between, I think it was when his albums dropped on the same day as De La Soul, and there was a
Uh,
huge drama issue going on. Like, okay, so who we gonna support? Are we gonna support mainstream Nas, or we gonna support underground De La Soul? And he's like,
mm,
well, wait, hold a second. How the hell did I get tossed into this? I'm
oh,
neither or. I'm still true,
Yeah,
right.
but it was a whole lot of things that he had to figure out. But those are tough because those kind of conversations can really make or break you as an artist.
They
yeah, yeah,
can. I've
yeah,
been there through a lot of them. Let me tell you. First, though,
Yeah,
let me give a shout out to Peru Benders.
yeah.
You saying in the comments, her son is really into JID. What's
Yeah, I
going on,
did.
sister? How's everything with you? This sister,
Peru, what's up,
yeah,
mama?
this sister right here is
Yeah,
going to be chiming in on some of our shows and helping us with some of the health and nutrition stuff. Very,
yeah,
I
very
love
sharp
Peru.
sister.
She is
She's
awesome. Love
dope.
her.
yeah.
She's real dope.
Dope,
So,
dope, dope.
and shout out to everybody else in the chat: Lakeisha Goodlay, Mila Renee, Keita Monet, more melanin, please, man. Everybody, Loco Tay, man. We have quite a few folks in the chat this evening. So shout out to all y'all.
Much
Make sure
love,
y'all
much love.
smash the like button,
Yes.
subscribe, leave your comments, all that.
And
Ring that
that's a
bell.
good artist. That's a good artist for your son to follow. Like I said, I tell
Word.
people all the time, if I had a child, I would want my child to follow to listen to JID. Very, and when I heard him on a couple of interviews, man, very intelligent
Oh
young
yeah,
man with a head on his shoulder.
sharp.
Is that the
Sharp.
cat who was talking to Willie D in the interview? He got like the funky dreads. Is that him?
I know he
He
locked
got
out.
he got yeah, he got tattoos on his arms or something like
I
that.
didn't see it. He had on a jacket, so I didn't see his arms. But he had like
Okay,
the.
yeah, he's always
But he's got
covered up. Like he's
I
never
think
like trying to expose himself. He's always covered up like a hoodie or
I know
something.
who you're talking about. I've seen him, and I have never really heard a song from him. But goddamn, he spit a acapella, and he was just giving some background on what the acapella was. I was like,
I'm almost
damn.
positive you've heard a song or two from him or a song or two that he's been on and you just didn't know who that was. I'm
Oh
almost
my
positive.
god.
Because
This
he's
if it,
he's he's not pervasive like that, but
yeah,
Mm,
especially because one thing about and shout out to J. Cole, he's been really, really good with putting his artist on, really trying to get them that shine and stuff. He's done great stuff with JID.
yeah,
mm,
He's done great stuff with Ari Lennox, putting her out.
yeah.
He's got a lot of people really out there from Dreamville. He's really done a lot to try and really get them in the forefront and really give
That's
them
deep.
opportunities. So big ups to him. But a dude like JID, I could easily see as talented as he is. I can easily
mm,
see him being a big deal locally and not really making too much headwaves outside of that.
Yeah,
Um, but with the platform he's been given, he's really been taking advantage of that and really getting himself out there and
mm.
really quietly making a name for himself. So
Yeah.
okay.
And he,
That's
remember,
what's up.
he has a lot that he's dealing with as far as, they're against that type of positivity, that type of artist. It's even with Earth Gang and those guys down there in Atlanta that's really make real good music, they're not gonna get the streams, they're not gonna get the promotion. So it's like they just in their own little enclave, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. That's what's up, man. Listen, those are the guys we need. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like real talk. This is what happens when when guys like that blow up. You know what I'm saying? That's when we're going to have that paradigm shift that we so desperately need in hip hop. Because if we're talking about the same guy, and I think we are, that guy is extraordinary. Again, I hadn't even heard a song from this guy, but he spit some acapella shit, and I was like,
This you
"Yo,
talking about?
I can't tell. I can't see it that well. I can't
yeah,
tell. Maybe,
that's blurred.
It's not this one.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm gonna look him up and check him out. But I'm
Yeah,
telling you, like when I see cats like that, even if it wasn't him, that gives me hope. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like, yeah, okay, it's young brothers out here that they still value the craft. They still, take the time to sharpen their skills, and they still have something to say to the people worth hearing. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? That right there gives me so much hope because sometimes, man, coming up, when we take our flashbacks and we talk about, why we love hip hop and whatever, you know, sometimes I will listen to hip hop and the artist and see the movement that was going on in the hip hop community. And I would think
mhm,
that hip hop was just the last vestige of anything meaningful that we had.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it just really seemed that way sometimes
Yeah,
because you go out here, you look on the internet now, you scroll down your timeline, it's a bunch of fuckery and nonsense. You know what I'm saying? You watch TV, it's a bunch of Tyler Perry bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And like, who is really talking about the pressing issues of the day? You
yeah,
understand what I'm saying? Who's doing that? And it used to be the hip hop artists. You know, we used to be the people who hip hop as a community would take these things on head on directly. Fuck the
yeah,
police was an anthem and it was needed because we were sick of that police brutality shit, and then Tupac came along later, holla if you hear me. I mean, they was just hardcore, just on message. You know what
mhm.
I'm saying? And this was things that young people who were going through this shit in real time needed to hear. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody else was really paying no attention to us. That was the
Yeah,
voice of the youth, man. That was the voice of the community.
yeah, yeah,
And now to see what it's become, how bastardized it's become, it's heartbreaking. But man, I'm loving this conversation, and I'm loving, the fact that you bringing up some real lyricism, and you're showing people, in their face, just how relevant hip hop is. A lot of people don't understand the power of words.
oh
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand the power of words. It's just a song. No, man, music can alter moods and talk to you. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like real talk. To quote Eminem, you know what I'm saying? And people hate on Eminem, but Eminem is a beast lyrically too. You know what I'm saying? But that's pertinent to what we're saying right now. Music moves people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like there have been times when there was a drive-by shooting or whatever the case may be, and people recall a song that was playing in the car when the shooter pulled the trigger. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
it's a song that would channel your anger to do something like that.
yeah,
Not saying that that's what we want music to do. I'm just simply saying, music can alter moods and talk to you. That's real, man.
exactly.
And
Absolutely.
people really don't. It goes over a lot of people's heads. Oh, that's just a song. Oh, it's man. I know people take hip hop so personally. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I remember back in the days, and what's his name got it in hot water for who was it? One of these guys, one of these talking heads got in hot water for coming for Tupac. Well, I think it was Tavis Smiley. And I kind of like
I
Tavis
think
Smiley.
so.
But I think it was him, and he came for Tupac, and man, people rained down hellfire on this man. They was making death threats to this man. I'm like, yo, but I remember because Pac was such a real dude, and he spoke up for us. He was our voice, man. And
Mhm.
you can't just go talking reckless about a cat like that, and I remember, man, back when I was in school, somebody said something slick about Pac. He got knocked out. Bro, that's how serious people take hip hop, man. You know,
Yeah,
he literally got knocked out cold for
yeah.
saying something slick about Tupac. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not advocating that, but I'm just putting it out there how deeply people felt these
It's
artists.
personal.
It
It's
it was
personal.
personal.
These artists, the ones that are actually serious about their craft, they're not out here just making gimmicky music or just searching for hits. But the ones who are actual artists who make music that says something to people, that speak to experiences,
Yeah,
situations, whatever. There's some people that have some deep emotional ties to their music. So
real
it's
talk.
not just an artist to them when you're talking about them or slander them, or whatever. The dude who sucker punched him. Maybe "Dear Mama," for example, was a deeply personal
Real
song
talk.
because his mother passed away, and this song's what he listens to kind of help him to remember her or to keep her alive. And when he
Mhm.
hears you slandering him, he's hearing you slander the person that's helped him still connect with his mother. Or maybe Tupac has talked about some other situation. You never know.
You
But
don't know.
music has been. I mean, music therapy is a legitimate avenue of psychology where music, whether it's classical or jazz, whatever, but music can be used to actually help people cope and deal with a number of different things
Right.
and
Yeah,
Right.
to progress and advance in life. So when you're an artist that says something, it's twofold. It's not just a case of uh, your responsibility to the people, but also how people view responsibility to you.
hmm,
If this person means so much, we protect the people who matter to us.
yeah,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're protective of your mother. You're protective of your father, your siblings. You're protective of your children. But this person who you may never have met before, but through their music has touched your life and
They
made such an
matter.
impact,
Real talk.
you also are protective of them as well too.
Hmm.
They almost become a part of your family just because of how they've been there and made such a significant impact on you.
yeah, yeah.
So
And that's so true because you just don't know how impactful that person was to a person indirectly at times. Because even when you look at the Malcolm X story, and you saw these guys that was part of the Nation of Islam that wanted to kill Malcolm X, and you say to yourself, how do you be part of the Nation of Islam and want to kill somebody who's also out here trying to fight for you? But in reality, these guys were really out there trying to protect Elijah Muhammad, right? Because Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X got into a rift. They had a disagreement. So when Malcolm X was coming out and talking about things that Elijah Muhammad did that he felt like wasn't right, the the followers, the disciples, the people that was aligned with Elijah Muhammad felt like Malcolm X was a traitor and trying to, oust their leader. And if they get their leader oust, then they would be out of a position or out of the temple, or you know what I'm saying, as well. So it's a whole trickle of system. Like you're trying to take food out of my mouth, or you trying to destroy somebody who found shelter and found, um, you know, some good in me to rebuild me. And now you want to destroy the person that took the time when nobody else did. I'm gonna come after you and I'm gonna kill you. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many aspects of it how sometimes people feel that way. And even
Right.
with Biggie and Tupac, even though a lot of people didn't know Tupac and a lot of people didn't know Biggie,
Mm.
a lot of people gravitated to the two as these were the spokesperson for the East Coast and West Coast. So
Hmm.
when Pac died, they was like, shit, Biggie gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not gonna take out our king and
Real
then
talk.
your king's still living. You feel me?
Hmm.
So there was a lot of people out here that felt like that. They felt
Yeah.
like Biggie had to go. And they, even though they weren't the one to pull the trigger, they found a little joy in it because Tupac wasn't there. So they felt like it was some kind of revenge. It's a psychological dynamic that a lot of us would not understand. Only person that would understand it is the people that feel that type of need, that felt that type of connection to how these people were talking and speaking life into them. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? There's people that follow us that will go hard for us and can't speak anything bad about us because the way we've been over the years, it's like we're the representative for them because a lot of times people don't really have the voice to do it. They don't have the courage to do it, or they just don't want to be in the limelight to do it. But since you're doing it, they're going to rally behind you and they're going to be your kind of like your army behind you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
definitely there's aspects of it. So I want to get into this last one, and then we can definitely take over and go to the next subject, or you guys can add in what you want to add in.
Yeah, yeah.
And it says, got to stop at a mall the other day, heard a call from the other way that just came from. Hey, some niggas was saying something, talking
Talking
about
about
smoke something. Hey man, you remember me from school? No,
no,
not
not
really.
really.
But he kept smiling like a clown, facial
Facial
expression
expression
looking
looking
silly.
silly.
And then he kept asking me, what kind
What
of
kind of
car
car
you
you
drive?
drive?
I know you
Uh,
paid. I know you got all that buku holes from all the
The
songs
song
that you
that
done
y'all done
made.
made.
And I replied, I've been
I've
going
been
through
going
the
through the
same
same
things
thing that
that
he
you
had.
had. True, I got more
I've
fans
got
than
more
the
fans
average
than the
man, but
average
not
man,
enough
not enough loot
loot
to
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 last
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 me
me
to
me.
the end of the
to
week.
the end
I
of
I
the
live
live
by
week.
the
by the
beat.
Live
beat
by
like
the
you
beat
live
like
You
neck.
you
live
live
tight to
check to
If
check.
you
check.
don't move your
If you
feet,
don't move
then
your
I
feet,
don't
then
eat. So
I
we
don't
like
eat.
neck
So we
to
like
neck.
neck to neck. Yes, we
Yes,
done
we
What?
done
come a
came a
long way
long
like
way
them
like
slim
them
ass
slim ass
cigarettes
cigarettes from
from
Virginia.
Virginia.
This ain't
Virginia.
gonna
This thing
stop.
gonna
It's
stop, so
just
we
gonna
just gonna
continue.
continue. Woo!
It's
That boy right
me
there, that
and
boy good.
you,
That
your
boy
And I
mama
good.
and your
I
cousin too.
I I really
Rolling down
like
the
this
strip
verse.
on Vogue,
I really like
turning
this
up
verse so
slamming
much.
Cadillac. No,
I
Woo!
I really like this verse so much because
Hey,
it kind of humbled fans and
man.
including myself.
mm,
It
yeah,
kind of
Yes,
humbled me to understand more of what these rappers are was really going through. And that's what
right.
Andre was one of the realest rappers, to tell you the truth, in
Yes,
everything he spoke in his lyric. And a lot of times we look and we say, you know, we think that these artists are out here just making buku money and they just living life, and it's this whole facade, you know, and it's just like regular people that's on the internet. You know, you're just looking at somebody from the outside looking in, and you see all the glamorous stuff, and you think that they're just living life. And then Andre like, yo, shit, nigga, if this shit don't move your feet, then I don't eat. So we about neck and neck.
yo, that shit crazy, boy.
You know what
that
I'm
Woo!
made it
saying?
hella accessible. That made it real plain. Like
Woo!
wow,
Exactly.
Thank
just a
you.
humanization.
Exactly. Because you
What,
looking at all the facade, you thinking it's all that, and it's not. You know what I'm
bruh?
saying?
And it's
That was a
interesting
real ass lyric.
because
Yeah.
um just about in every single music genre, just about whether it's pop, whether it's R&B, whether it's rock music, whatever, you
Thank you.
typically have artists who are really big and who, they reach that larger than life thing where, there's cameras are everywhere, everyone's all in their business and everything. They can't really get a second to breathe. You have all kind of
Hmm.
artists that write about the experience, but I
Yeah.
know I think what was it, well, to a lesser extent, but Mariah Carey had that song "Obsession." Why are you so obsessed with me?
Yeah.
Ah,
Britney Spears dropped songs of that back in the day, talking about having to deal with the press and the paparazzi and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Especially pop music is really big, but I can't recall before this a hip hop song really expressing that. That idea that it doesn't matter because usually this time was the opposite. A lot of artists were just, they're bragging about how popular they are, how much money they got. They got chains, they got girls all over the floor, whatever. They're on tour, whatever. But here
yeah.
you got Andre and Big Boy out here just putting down like, hey man, we just like y'all. We started from nothing, just like y'all. We just got a little bit more famous. We got a name now, but we in the
Mm-hmm.
same situation as y'all. Y'all live check to check, but we live beat to beat. You
That's
know,
it.
at the end of the day, if you all aren't feeling what we putting out there, we
Yeah.
Uh,
right next to you at the check cashing
Yeah.
store. Ain't no difference.
uh,
There's no separation really. So
Yeah.
it was a really great step in a different direction, doing something that hadn't been seen before, and just really humanizing the rapper, humanizing the artist. That y'all might listen to us on the radio station or on your tape deck or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
no matter how big we might seem in your eyes, we're human beings just like y'all. We still have the same concerns. We still worried about our checks coming in. We still got bills to pay and everything else. They gonna cut our lights off the same way they gonna cut your lights off. They're not gonna say, "Hey, look, it's Outcast, man. Let's give them a a 2-3 week extension. Nah, it's gonna be like, oh, you outcast. Well, now your life's an outcast. Click,
Right?
it's the same situation. So
Real
Yeah.
talk.
it was really unique, and again, one of the important things about hip hop, the creativity, not just certain concepts, but just the realness of it.
Mm-hmm.
Really the people's music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's real,
Yeah.
bro.
And that's so it's so true because man, when I tell you that I'm not sure, but I think this was around the time, Atlanta was going real big. And then that's when they start breaking down a lot of, I think TLC came out with the real documentary of what was going on. And then they broke down like the everything that
Yeah.
they was, they sold 10 billion records. I think it was like 10 million. They went diamond, 10 million records.
Yeah.
And they
And they
went
barely saw any
diamond,
of
which
that.
is one of the hardest things to do is to go diamond. I think it's only a few people that ever go diamond,
Yeah.
right?
True.
And they
That's
sold
10.
all
That's
of
10
this
million
stuff.
records sold, right? I think.
Yes.
Huh? That's
Yes.
10 million. Yeah,
Yeah.
10 million.
Platinum's $1 million, and diamond is 10 million.
Yes.
10 million, correct. So they said they sold all these records, you know what I'm saying? And then when they broke down, they was like, yo, we only got 300,000 out of this stuff. And then you break that down and all the fees you got to pay and all the stuff you got to do. And that's the thing, back in the days, they used to tell them like, hey, yeah, we're going to send a limo and we're going to send you to the studio and all that. And they didn't even know that all of that's coming still out of their check that they get. So when they sat back and they was like, yo, we got all of that. And then we come down to like, I think it was like 300,000 a piece. And then it's like a little bit more than that. They only had enough to drive. They was like, yo, we went diamond and we driving RAV4s. Like,
Yeah, that shit was
Yeah.
crazy.
that's all we could afford. And that really
The
opened
360
up
deal.
that really opened up the eyes to a lot of people because everybody was shocked. I was shocked because I didn't even think that they was getting lowballed in such a greaseball type of deal. You know what I'm saying? So I think all of that came around this time. So that's what even made the song even more powerful.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was a huge one, bro. And that was a great way to end that off because Outkast is, in my opinion, that's the greatest rap group of all time. You know what I'm saying? And like there are others that are up there as well, but man, Cass was special, dog. Like my God.
Definitely.
And
Exactly.
the shit they used to say in their lyrics, bro. Oh my God. Like because the song it's not a seemingly deep song. You
No.
know what I'm saying? But it's so deep. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? That lyric right there is like, bro, he just broke it down how all the smoke and mirrors make you look like so much more than it is, but it ain't that. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? This is what it really is basically what Andre was telling you. This is what it really
Yeah.
is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think more people gotta really start, especially in this day and age, gotta really start to understand that
Yeah.
that's what it is out here, man. Like a lot of these rappers, they not living.
Yeah.
They're really
Yeah.
not.
They're not.
A
They're
lot of these
not.
guys are dead broke. You feel me?
Yep. Their chains are on like crazy lease.
Mm-hmm. Real
Yeah.
talk. Real
Real
talk.
talk.
So
So
they driving
I
lease cars. Go ahead.
yeah, I just want to tie this all up real quick with some great positive images that I think a lot of us don't know. So we'll start with the first one. Um, and that is, you know who that is, right?
I can't see the picture. That look like E40. Is that E40?
Yes, that's E40. That's
Okay.
definitely E40.
And his wife?
So, yes, that's his wife. Oh, you know
Yeah.
about his wife, right?
I never
Yeah,
seen his
yeah,
wife.
man.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
used to live in the Bay, man.
Shout out
Oh,
to brother Earl.
okay.
Yeah, I used to live in the Bay. I met E40. Good
Oh,
brother.
okay. So E40 and his wife Tracy Stevens have been married for 32 years. Yo.
Wow.
Shout out to that, yo.
Wow.
That's super dope. All right.
Salute.
Definitely. Salute. So the next one we're gonna go to is
MC
y'all know who
Hammer.
that is, right?
MC Hammer and his wife. Yeah, yeah,
MC
yeah.
Hammer
Hammer
and his
time.
wife. So MC Hammer and Stephanie Fuller have been together for 35 years. Yo, shout out to
Insane.
that. Yo,
Wow.
Beautiful. I
definitely.
Wow.
love it.
All
How old
right.
am
Love
I?
it.
Don't answer that. Hey.
All
Shit.
right. So you know who this is, right?
Bun B.
That's the
Bun
boss,
B.
whether the general.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bun B and Angela
Bun.
Walls have been together for 20 years. Yo,
Wow.
shout out to
Wow.
that. And shout out to Bun B for his burgers, man. It's making its rounds, and I heard it's good.
I
We
heard
should
he's
all fly.
killing the game.
Yes, we should all fly. Manversation should take a trip out to Texas one day, and go out there and go to Trill Burgers, man, and get
I'm
us
with
a
it.
Trill Burger.
I'm with it.
Uh,
Yeah.
I like
Definitely.
Texas. I was in Dallas about a year or two ago, man, for the first time. I loved it out there. Beautiful out there,
Yeah,
I
man.
might be moving out
definitely.
there, man. It's legit out there. That thing is serious.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so
Texas is doing it right now.
the next one is, you know who this is,
Of
right?
course, man.
That's
That's
that boy
Todd.
Todd James Smith,
Todd. Mr.
Todd
Smith.
James
aka
Smith.
Ladies Love the Cool
Ladies
J,
love
especially
Cool
his
J.
wife.
Yeah. That's
His
And
it.
wife loves him
Simone
most of
Smith.
all.
And
I
some
love it.
and so that's LL Cool J and Simone Smith, who's been together for 27 years. Yo, shout out to
Ah,
them for this.
Wow.
Definitely, man. All
That's
right.
heavy. Okay.
And last but not least, we all know
Oh,
my
O'Shea.
dude,
I.
Yay.
my dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
dope. That's Doughboy's daddy.
There you go. There you go.
So we got Ice Cube and his wife. So that's Ice Cube and Kimberly Woodruff. And they've been together for 31 years. Yo, shout out to that. Yo,
Wow.
definitely. All right.
Wow. Wow.
So I really wanted to show you guys my whole purpose of me doing that was to show you that a lot of times we have the image that rappers just want to run through women, discard women, don't care about women, just want to
Right.
be players for life. And there's not every rapper is on that level. You know what I'm saying? Like I just showed you, these guys been in the game and with their wives for a long time.
Forever.
And it just goes to show you. And I showed you, and this is one thing that you guys got to take. I just showed you what that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just showed you 5 couples been together for 20 years or more.
Yeah.
And if you look at every last one of them, right? So I'm gonna show you again. All right, every last one of them.
Yeah.
Look at every last one of them. And what do you notice?
I'm
You
picking up what
notice-
you're putting down.
They
You notice
they all
that-
black. They all dressed alike.
No, you notice that they're successful men because their women are very, very dominant, powerful, and unique. They
Mhm.
are the women that they needed to build the empire that they built. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times guys will run out here and they might not be so tight knit with everything and the organization and all that. Well, with the right woman by you who's organizing, who's telling you this, she's your second opinion in that house, giving
Mhm.
you good advice because she knows that if I give you bad advice, that's gonna harm me as well. So
Right.
I am your yin to your yang. I'm out here making sure that I take care of the household, whether you're traveling on tours or whatever. We got children. I'm taking care of your children. I'm making sure everything is running functional.
No doubt.
And that's how the solidifiedness of a solid foundation is. And they don't want to show you this because this is the blueprint of going out here and building and not having to worry about what going down there to vote. Because when you build a solidified household like that, it is so powerful that it actually it blossoms the community to a higher level. Hence, why we had so many couples that were living during the great the Wall Street, Black Wall Street era, and we didn't need anything. We didn't need white folks or any other people like that during the Jim Crow era because we had everything we needed. We had the unity. We practiced group economics. We had so many businesses. Everybody was cool. Everybody had their own lane and avenue. If there was something that we needed that we knew that was in the dominant society, we went out there and we created it so we didn't have to go to the dominant society.
True.
That mind frame comes from a solidified household. When you look back at the pictures back in the days, you saw our little children's wearing suits. You look at our little children's now, their underwear is barely on their ass. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. There's a difference of breed and mindset that we went through, and that mindset comes from a strong traditional household. When you look at O'Shea and his son, you know what I'm saying? He got his junior out here running in the same footsteps. You know, that's the powers of having a great household, that your offsprings end up being identical and running in the same direction as you. So I put that out there to show you that nobody, all of them is different. You know, none of them look the same or nothing like that. Find your half, find your other half, build with them, and build that legacy, build that foundation, and create a stronger niche in our community. That's the way to go. And don't look at all the stereotypical stuff that they throw at you about these rappers. When a lot of these rappers are out here with college degrees, they don't tell you that. A lot of these rappers are out here, you know, with solidified households. They don't tell you that. A lot of these rappers are out here doing investments. They don't tell you that. You know what I'm saying? But what they show you is that the ignorant ones that's running and gunning down, the ignorant ones that's drinking lean, the ignorant ones that's out here smoking weed and not doing anything productive of themselves, the ignorant ones that's throwing money and slapping money on women's ass. That's all they show you. But in the realness and what we like to do, we like to tell you the truth. We like to show you the other side that they don't show you. So that's what we wanted to show you. And I end it on that.
Respect. Right? I love it.
Definitely. So we're going to go into our question of the day real quick. We're going to go to the question of the day. And the question of the day comes in the form of a meme, right? All right. So here we go. He said, oh. So the question of the day, right? So I'm going to show you both pictures. All right. It's the same thing. Question of the day. All right. So it says the surgeon wife goes viral after showing that she cooks for her man after working a 13-hour shift. Husband expects dinner when he gets home. So the question is it wrong for the husband to expect his wife to cook him a meal while she comes home after a 13-long-hour shift? And on the second part of that, if the wife comes home and cook, then what is the problem with it? And should anybody have a problem with it?
I mean, on a very basic, simplistic level, hell no, there's not a problem. There's only a problem. Let me tell you something. That type of thing is only a problem when you have a generation of lazy, entitled, misandrous women. You understand? If a man came home after he'd been working for 13 hours and he made his woman dinner, that's so sweet. Oh, that's so nice. That's a good man, girl. Get you a man like that, girl. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, sus.
But because a woman did it, oh, she is a slave. You know, you don't have to serve no nigga. Dude, let me tell you, I am so sick of these vomit-inducing Neanderthals out here posing as women. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Like, dude, if that's what she want to do, that's her goddamn business, bruh. You know what I'm saying? What is your problem? Why is it that every time anyone does something kind for a man, it's a problem? God damn. I'm just saying that bacteria eating amoeba is just all in your asshole, ain't it? I mean, really?
But I think it was like it wasn't like a couple. I think it was a couple months ago. It was just
Oh,
about
man.
fixing your man food at 1 or 2 in the
At
morning.
1 or 2 in the morning. Dude, who comes up with this shit, first of all? Like, why is that? Why is that your trigger? Damn. Some of these
You
women just need
know,
a hug, bruh. Listen, some of these women just need a hug. You are so deeply and mortally damaged that you can't just be like, damn, that's a really nice thing that sister did for that brother. That should be it. You know what I'm saying? But I
I
remember,
saw.
listen, I got one even better than the one with the sandwich at 3 in the morning or the meal at
Yeah,
3 in the morning. There
yeah.
was you saw the one that I posted where they were asking men to share their feelings and guys were just sharing, some basic feelings and the women just came with the
how
knives out
dare
just
they?
attacking them. Right? There
Yeah.
was another one even worse than that. I swear there's a race to the bottom. There was a meme that they posted on one of these. I think it was either Baller Alert or Shade Room, and they asked the women, or just people generally, what are some good gift ideas for gifts for men for the holidays?
Oh no.
Simple enough, right?
Hmm.
I ain't buying no nigga no gift. Nigga better buy me something. What the hell I buying him something for? Nigga, if you don't sit your little musty ass down somewhere, bruh, we don't have time for that. Every time anybody does something kind for a male, it's got to be a goddamn movie. This has to stop. Ladies, this is why you're so miserable and lonely, a lot of you that are. You understand what I'm saying? That's just uncalled for. There's been times that me and my wife, we do a lot, right?
Hmm.
And my wife is always calling me He-Man, whatever, because I be just trying to put the world on my shoulders, and that's just what I do. I remember
Hmm.
the time that like she worked a little later, whatever the case may be. I got up early, I do my IT thing, but on the weekdays. But I do my Uber trapping on the weekend, right?
Hmm.
So I drove Uber all day. I must have drove Uber for like 8, maybe 9 hours, whatever. Then I come home, you know what I'm saying, and I think her mom was coming in town the next day or something. So the house needed to be cleaned up. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So okay, I know she's gonna do her thing. She's gonna come home or whatever, but just immediate stuff that I know I can take care of right there. Boom. So I just hit the vacuum right quick, knock the dishes out real quick. Then we just got the lights done in the kitchen. So I went in there and I painted in the kitchen, and then I went and cooked. You understand? Anybody who that I've done that multiple times. I worked about 13, maybe more, maybe 15 hours that day because I started early in the morning and I ended later, and whatever. By the time she got home, it was not much left for her to do, or whatever the case may be. But the point of the matter is, there would never be an instance where, first of all, I wouldn't go viral for doing that because it's a thankless job being a man who does that. You know what I'm saying? But if I did, nobody would even dare come out and say something negative about
Yeah.
it. Everybody would be like, yo, that brother, shit, he did that shit. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be, okay. Because I did something for a woman. You know what I
But
mean? This
before
double
you,
standard. Huh? Go ahead.
be- no, I was gonna say before you met your wife,
Yeah.
were you coming home late?
Yeah.
And when you came home late, were there times where you said, "Fuck it, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go eat"?
Of course.
Did
I'm
you
still doing
cook?
the same shit I've always done.
What
She
I'm
just
saying,
here
did you
now.
cook? Did you cook after a long day of slaving?
Hell yes.
Well, that's
I'm
what
just
that's my thing. And
yes.
we as functional parents, I mean not parents, but functional adults,
Yes.
right? We do this on a daily without a mate. So when a mate come in the picture, I don't see what's wrong with it. Because guess what? Think about it, right? if she didn't have her man, she would have came home and cooked for herself.
Seriously.
She had
Seriously.
there's times where she came off of work and had to cook for herself. And you know what people would be like, nah, she could have sat back and just ordered something. Nope. You know what I'm gonna tell you? A lot of times the women that are nurses and all that, what they do is they meal prep. So they'll sit back and cook, like come home late and say, fuck it, I'm gonna cook. I'm
Yeah.
gonna cook this mega meal and then separate it. And then that way, for the rest of the week, they could just pick up their little, trays and keep it moving.
Real
You know what I'm
talk.
saying? So they've been doing this for the longest. Guess what? A lot of women and men wake up 2, 3 in the morning and say, fuck, I'm hungry. Their stomach is killing them. So they get up and they cook 2 or
Ain't
3 in the
nothing wrong
morning.
with that.
Let me
Nothing
tell you
wrong with that.
something. My mother had worked, she had 2 jobs. She was working 2 jobs. And my mother would get up at 4 in the morning and cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner for us, especially if like it was a weekend because she had to go out and work, live-in jobs. So she would cook the 3 different meals and cook them early in the morning and just throw them in the Tupperware and just be like, hey, when y'all wake up, y'all just get y'all meals when
Yeah.
y'all eat.
Yeah.
And that was her thing. That was her lifestyle. Now, there's one thing that I will say before I turn it back over to you guys. There was a comment I seen that somebody wrote, and this was a woman who wrote this, and I thought she made a really good point
Mm-hmm.
because she also said this was something she do. She said, a lot of y'all looking at it from that angle, but you're not looking at it from the woman's angle. And the woman's angle is that a lot of times they come home and that's part of their decompressing moment. That is when they, in a meal, cooking that meal, she can decompress. And now when she
Therapeutic.
finished that meal, she gets off into her womanly side and her family side.
No
You know what I'm
doubt.
saying? I know people to this day, several people that will decompress before they come home. You know what I'm saying? Everybody decompress different. So when she said that, and she was like, I do that, like through cooking, I decompress my work through cooking. And I cook through my family, but I'm decompressing while I'm cooking. So
Mm-hmm.
anybody that knows decompressing knows that that's actually self-care because you're letting out all the energy, negative energy from yourself, decompressing it out. So that way, by the time you hit the sack, you can sleep real comfortable.
Right.
It's a psychological thing behind it. And I thought that was a great point that person pointed out because I think a lot of times, a lot of people will be so quick to say something and not realize that she might be doing that for herself.
She might be.
And she's doing it for her man. So it's like taking a stone and killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Real talk.
So
And this is, I just want to put it out there.
Yeah.
If she's doing it only for her man, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You dig?
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that. Now if you're a miserable female out here who don't have no man and have no
Yeah.
hopes of one, then you might see something wrong with that because
Absolutely.
you're gonna be sleeping, with your teddy bear for the next foreseeable future. You know what I'm saying? Like for the next foreseeable few years, you're gonna be sleeping with your teddy bear. That's your man. You understand? And so I get it because I'm starting to understand, through dealing with different people, I'm starting to understand the levels of hatred and jealousy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because that don't sound like nothing but hatred and jealousy to me. It's nothing
Correct.
wrong with what she's doing. If she's doing it for
At all.
herself, for her own man, for herself, for her man, for Jesus, whatever she's doing it for, that's her goddamn business and her prerogative.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob. My bad. I was just, getting off some extra.
No. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You dig?
As usual, this is first off, as if we need any more. We got so many. You could all. You could if you were deaf, blind, and lame, you could probably turn around and bump your head or your foot into one of these. But it's just a pitiful and a sad, soggy commentary on the times in which we live when something like this is what goes viral. You know,
Hmm.
I saw an article on Friday. One of my folks hit me with this article about this amazing thing that has happened. Apparently, there's this team of Korean scientists that may have discovered a new superconductor that can basically conduct electricity without generating any heat. And they've been trying to do this for quite some time now, for over a century now. And there's been a whole bunch of false positives. But if they've actually been able to do it, then this is literally going to change the world. I mean,
Right.
technology is going to be drastically improved. Um, Electronics, we know it's going to be different. How what we're able to produce and how we're able to get it done without causing any other issues, or whatever. This is revolutionary stuff.
Right.
That's not going viral.
And it's not. Nobody cares.
That's not going viral.
You
That's
know
not all
why?
over this huge revolutionary life changing once in a century type of discovery. That's not going viral. But a woman working 13 hours as a surgeon and coming home and whipping it up in the kitchen for her husband for dinner, and her saying husband expects dinner when he gets home. That's viral.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's like somebody else said it on a post where I first saw this. He said, and I think this really just is what summed it up perfectly. This cut everybody's kneecaps out from under them, I thought. And he said, I'm trying to find exactly what he said. He's come on, where's it? Basically, he said, no, yeah, they try to shame black women for being good wives, but they celebrate them for ratchet behavior.
Yes, they do. All the time. Literally all the
So she's
time.
being an amazing wife. She's out there, she's working hard, doing her thing. She comes home to cook food for her husband. Why is she out here doing that? What's he doing? Why he
She
can't
a
cook for
pick me.
himself? He's
Yeah.
just slaving me. And all kind of nonsense. But if she out here booed up and letting Ursula Raymond serenade her and she's fawning all over and everything, you go, girl. I
While
know
she's
that's
half
right. I
naked.
want me some of that truth.
Right. While she's
Or
half
she out here
naked.
on a
Don't leave that
table.
out. Uh-huh.
Right. Or she out here at some brunch someplace, and she out here at turkey leg hunting some other place, and standing on the table and shaking ass. Get it, girl. I know that's a vibe.
Bruh.
We are so ass backwards. It's crazy. We
My
have
Yeah.
head
collectively
explodes.
lost our finger lipping, syrup sipping, wood grain gripping minds. We are done.
A
And
lot
it's
of
the
us are
idea
done.
that and
A lot of us.
it could be possible. Let's be fair. It could be possible that her husband is some dusty, no good bum that just lays up on the couch all day, sucking
Yeah.
up the AC and playing Xbox and ride around in their car or whatever, getting his Jody on, whatever. It's possible that could
It's
be a thing
possible.
because
Hmm.
it does happen out here. It could be, but
A
the
lot
fact
of the
that we
women.
would jump to assume that as if
Mm.
she's some servant, some slave, and not assuming that this could just be a perfectly functional family. He's a great husband, great protector, great provider. He does a lot to make her life easy and to really do his part or whatever in there and to really hold her own. And for her, it's just a joy, even if she's dead tired. It's a joy to come home and to show her love, to show her affection to her husband in this manner. It can't be that because we're all so miserable. We all are drawn to dysfunction. We all love taking on significant others who are trash that we haven't properly vetted
Right.
and trying to shortchange them. It's an arms race to see who can give their mate the least because that's what we're on. We automatically assume that's what's going on every place else.
Real talk.
The commentary on this stuff, and again, that's why I keep saying social media is a godsend. These topics that people like to downplay, this is stupid or this isn't real, whatever. People haven't figured it out yet, but they're gonna figure it out. These topics aren't the problem. These posts aren't the issue.
Real talk.
The problem is you see the problems in the comments. It's the comments that are revealing. When you
Bruh.
look at a situation like this
Yep.
and you find holes to poke, you find negative things to generate, you can't just say that's a wonderful thing, that's amazing, or whatever. You can't say, wow, that's a great wife, or wow, she's really dedicated, or wow, they must have a great house life. The fact that that's not your go to,
Dog.
but you go into something else, that says a
Hey.
whole lot about you as a person.
It does.
Hey, that
Even
that
if
dude.
even if you might be right, even if you might be accurate, it could be that this is the way it is. The fact that that's what you jump to, I'm wondering what it is about you that's gravitating towards that. I need Ant to come up off the funny because he's hogging it right now.
No,
I'm
hey,
trying to be
That's real long.
no,
serious.
man, I'm trying. Listen, dog, you can't say funny shit, dog, and then keep going. Like you do that a lot, dog. You say some funny shit because you was like, yo, it's like we out here acting like we trying to find out who can give who the least. I'm like,
Dude, it's an no, like
That's
Major
real
said, it's
talk.
an arms race to the bottom.
Real shit,
And
man.
that's the number. I will tell you right now, I would argue, and I would love for anyone to try and
oh
argue me on
man.
this. And not that it can't be disproved, it could be, but I want anybody to try and disprove me or fight me on this. I would argue that the number one reason why we're in such a horrible shape in our interpersonal relationships right now, as well as one of the number one contributors to the art to the gender war that's going on, is because we're so selfish and self-centered. We're busy trying to get as much as we can from people that we're dealing with while giving up the least.
Real talk.
We're
Real
not trying to
talk.
have proper, healthy, functional giving relationships. We're trying to hit a lick.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
Then
much
you
can
want
I use this person?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
it's
it.
Yeah.
usury.
Real talk.
I
And
want
then
to get
you,
everything I can out of this person and leave them bone ass dry. I'm not going to contribute anything to them. I want to dehydrate them. I
yeah,
want to be a vampire. I want to get all the blood out their corpse and leave them there dry while I go on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
it's sad. You know what I'm saying? Like it's dog eat dog out here, man.
Yeah.
And the women used to be the ones that would counter that energy the most, even when it was in men. You know what I'm saying? The women were,
Right.
sugar and spice and everything nice, and they were sweet and they were soft spoken, and they would be the ones to comfort you. They will come to you, you know, in your time of need, and they will calm you, and they would give you the encouragement that you need to move on to that next level. And now these yuck mouth females, bro, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're the worst ones. They
Mm.
come out there, real ass bitch, give a fuck about a nigga, beating their chest, you know what I'm saying? Belching louder than you. You
And
feel me?
you know what the funny thing is? Some of these now, there's great power in the kitchen. Great
Yes,
power in
there
the
is.
kitchen. Dr. Sebi and a number of other people said in the past that we're not supposed to have to be going to the pharmacist to go ahead and get medicine whenever. Our kitchens are supposed to be our hospitals and our
Real talk.
pharmacies.
Real
Mm.
talk.
We're
And
supposed to be getting healed from our nutrition. Your proper balanced
Mhm.
diet is what's supposed to keep everyone healthy. And it's a fact. If you look right now in most households, we talk about the obesity crisis that's going on.
Yeah,
Mm.
real talk.
That starts in the kitchen,
It starts in the
whether
kitchen.
it's being used or not. So whether or not you're
Mm-hmm.
not cooking, every meal comes from a fast food spot. That's still
Mm-hmm.
indicative of the kitchen because the kitchen ain't being used.
Right.
And if you're right there cooking a whole bunch of junk because all the groceries you pick up is junk and garbage, and that's what you churn out your kitchen, that's still part of the problem right there. If you
Mhm.
if you look at the health status of the parents, it's usually reflected on the children. If the parents are eating healthy, the parents are fit, they're in good shape, they're healthy. Usually the kids are too. You're not going to see too many children suffering from obesity and juvenile diabetes, and their parents whip up quality meals in the kitchen. That's
Right.
Mm-hmm.
rare. And
Right.
usually, if it is, it's because of some kind of condition or some issue at birth. But if you see Big Mama here with the wide ass auntie arms, she got them, Hulk Hogan arms, and it's not because she bench pressing or whatever. Usually the
Them
kids
big
around
ham
like
holler
bowling balls
arms.
too.
Yeah.
It
Uh-huh.
all
That's
trickles down.
the lunch lady
And
arms.
right. And some of these same women who are talking about all this, why is she out here cooking for a man? If their man were to go and get a plate served by some other woman, she out there serving, she's making eyes at her man and serving food, whatever,
Man,
they'd be the first one that want to catch a case.
want to
They
shoot.
want to catch a body.
Yeah.
So now
Real
you don't want no
talk.
one fixing your man a plate. Well, you're not fixing the plate. It don't matter. You ain't supposed to be getting the plate from her.
Right.
We have to change how we deal with each other. Look, if you have enmity for men, if you are a misandrist, if you have issues with doing for men, leave men alone.
Yeah.
Don't
Real
even hit
talk.
them up for booty calls. Don't hit them up for side piece action, for sneaky links, nothing. You get your battery operated boyfriend and you make peace with that. Stay your ass away. Get healthy. Because your actions contribute to the gender war. As much as you think men may hate women or men are misogynists, you are adding fuel to their fire.
Mm,
You are motivating them. You are giving them justification for their disdain for women. You
mm,
Real
think you're
talk.
providing any evidence that makes them feel bad? Like, damn, there are good women out here. Maybe I need to cool out with that. No, you're putting a battery in their back. If you are unhealthy, get yourself whole. We talked about this. If you're unwell, it's fine to be unwell.
mm,
That's cool. If you're bleeding, you're injured, you have the right to be injured.
yeah.
But what you don't have the right to do is go and bleed on other people.
True.
That's
Mm,
not right. You don't have you are not justified in doing that. And there's no sympathy or compassion for me for that. I don't respect that. I
mm,
respect the people who choose to go and seek healing. I respect the people that say, you know what, I'm good, I don't need to heal, but they keep themselves to the sideline, they're not bothering anybody else, they're just living their life. I respect that. I don't respect you out here with your gangrene limbs, with your trauma, with your virus, and you out here trying to infect and damage as much people out here. I don't have any respect for that. I have no respect for you.
Real talk.
Your trauma
yeah.
does not give you license to go ahead and wild out.
Yeah.
Take your ass home. Leave people alone. And when you're ready to get healthy and get well and do the necessary work, come back out here in the field and rejoin the rest of us. Because we'd like to have you out here, but not as you are. No, it's not okay. We need to stop this. You see in
Exactly.
perfectly healthy, functional posts like this, and you find ways to spit all over it.
Exactly.
I'd say you should be ashamed, but clearly that's something that you lost a long time ago. It might have been the first casualty of your damage.
Real talk.
Take your ass on
Exactly.
with that nonsense, man. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This is shameful. The fact that this is going viral and not for positive reasons is shameful and it's embarrassing. And again, it says a whole lot more about you than it says about the sister in the post.
It
Exactly.
really does. It really does,
Exactly.
I
man.
was disgusted to see that. My jaw hit the floor, and I'm like, wow, it can't be this bad. But I knew it was this bad.
It is this bad.
But it's just sad to see it play out. Like this is really where we're at now. Doing basic acts of love and affection for your spouse.
It's
Not
really
only for a
very
baby
basic.
daddy or a boyfriend, but for your spouse, your husband, the man who you got the last name of. That's something to cast aspersions on.
Hold on now. You got to keep in mind. Keep in mind, marriage is just a piece of paper. You dig?
You know,
Yeah.
there was something else I was trying to remember. I'm glad you said that. You know, it's funny. See, this is that hypocrisy put on the Summer Jam screen. This is that hypocrisy.
Mm.
So we'll recognize the idea that cooking now, of course, and again, in this example, this is a woman who's doing this for her husband, so that defeats the argument, anyways. Well, let's go ahead and run with that. Okay, well, you don't do these things for a man that's not your husband. He's got to put a ring on that. Okay, let me ask you this, sis. 3-year-old Rashawn Tavius that you got right there. Uh, is his daddy your husband?
Uh, mm,
Did he
mm,
marry you before you went ahead and allowed him to go ahead and
mm,
shoot the club up? And oh no,
mm.
so cooking for your mate is something that requires marriage, but having his child That don't require marriage.
Nah,
Oh, okay.
nah,
Marriage is just a piece of paper.
not
If
even an
marriage is just a
idea.
piece of paper, then how is it that we're going to go ahead and cordon this off and say this is a marriage only benefit? So when does this happen?
Well, that's the
You're
thing.
full
Because
of it.
hold up, check
That's
it out. This is what they love to do. There's an echo. This is what they love to do. They love to talk about. I ain't doing that unless I'm married. We ain't married. Kiki Palmer was Kiki Palmer. She ain't married to that nigga. You know that? Okay, okay. This woman is married. Now what?
It's still a
yeah, but
problem.
It's
the
still a
thing about
problem.
it, the, the
Still a
thing
problem.
the thing I hate about the marriage dialogue is that they talk about this, why do wifey things for a man if he doesn't put the ring on? And it is the stupidest argument, because guess what? When you go to a job interview, you don't sit back with a fucking blank ass fucking resume.
Of course.
You show the motherfuckers that you've been this place, this time, this. You can also do this. You excel in Excel. You know how to communicate with others and all this other shit that you put on the damn resume, and you hand it to them, and then they do a second interview to pre-check what the fuck you said is right and adds
Mm-hmm.
up. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But yet you don't want to show your resume to a man you feel that that really likes you. You don't want to show him your resume. So you're like, shit, you marry me and I'll show you my resume. How the hell am I gonna marry you off the strength? You don't go to no goddamn car lot and look at the car and say, damn, the shit look good. Let me go ahead and just buy it and drive it off the lot. No, your ass want to go in there, sit in the car, check it out. Then you ask the guy, hey, can we take it for a spin around the block? I want to see how it rides. That's what you do. You want to check it out before you. Nobody sits there and says, oh, yeah, pay for the car and then you can check it out.
Nobody
Fuck,
does.
I'm gonna buy a lemon. I could buy a lemon like that. And then when I buy a lemon, your ass gonna sit
Correct.
back and say, it's a lemon. You bought it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
It would be
saying?
different if we lived in an age where people actually had integrity, where people's word actually had weight and value, and they put that above everything. But nowadays, these people will shoot you dead in your chest before they keep a promise.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Real
These people
talk.
will slash.
Exactly.
People will stab you dead in the back before they go ahead and honor their word. So you can't do that with these people.
You can.
Exactly.
They have no
You got to
integrity.
show and prove. Emphasis on the prove. So because unfortunately we don't live in this utopian society where everybody's received the same training, everybody is already ready made for marriage. They're ready made for relationships. Period. Forgetting marriage. That's
Mm.
we,
Mm.
we got
Real
some people
talk.
that's not even worth being around as friends. You're not
Exactly.
even a decent person. So before we even get there, and we're supposed to just accept that this is good to go as is, sight unseen. Hell no.
It
Muscle like
don't
moving
work
the
like
fool out here.
Mm-hmm.
All
Real talk.
right. Well,
Must got dumbass tattooed on the forehead or something.
Man.
Gotta be. Cause ain't no
all right.
way.
That concludes our segment of question of the day.
Yeah.
We're out of time for tonight, so we're going to go straight into the crown check. And this week's crown check actually came from Major's page.
Okay.
So Major, you know who I'm talking about?
I think I have an idea. The sister with the pilot. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, buddy.
So shout out to this sister.
Yes.
Shout out to
Dopeness
this queen right here.
personified.
That is
Who,
so dope. And
yes.
go ahead. I'm gonna get in on it, but that is so dope. That shit made my day when I saw that post.
Yeah,
Real talk.
so
Same, bro.
all right. So the picture you saw was of Miracle. I don't know how to spell her last name. She's Nigerian.
Is it Chukwu?
Is it
Is it
Chukwu? Yeah.
Chukwu?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know
All
a
right.
few Nigerians with that last name, so I learned it the hard way. Miracle
Oh,
is a
okay.
Chukwu.
All right. So she is who is from New York City. will soon break barriers when she's officially become part of the 1% of the Black female pilots of a major commercial airline around the world. Now 24 years old, she is currently in training to become a commercial airline pilot and continues to inspire other people with her story. Miracle, whose parents are Nigerian, says that she grew up in a very discouraging environment. She said her ambitions were often looked down, and because of her gender, but she did not let it stop her from dreaming. I thought this next thing was very interesting, but I know what they're going to play this off as. I think the way that they're trying to play it off
I saw that.
is basically in a way of, hold on, let me see, hold on, let me take this off real quick. Yeah, so you can see it. So basically, I think they're trying to push it in a way of this, her father being misogynistic,
Mm-hmm.
and but that's not the case. So I'm gonna just say it. I'm gonna just read this real quick. She initially joined the aviation industry when she became a flight attendant with the American Airlines. She had always wanted to become a pilot since she was first encountered with one while she was still working as a customer service representative. Excited, Miracle told her father about her plans, but she said he told her that if she gets on a plane and he sees a woman pilot, he would get off the plane. Um, I wanted to highlight that because I think when we look at the media and we have something going so good and something to actually be, talked about and inspired about, sometimes the media will take it and wing their own agenda into it. As Nigerian or anybody from the Caribbean islands are pretty much on that old school mentality, right? So when you talk about an old school mentality, you're talking about gender roles that normally fit the traditional lifestyle of, the genders, meaning that you wouldn't have your wife run around and go chase down some animals outside. It would more likely be the man that's running around doing that. You wouldn't ask your wife to go put up TVs in the living room or put tarp on top of the roof and stuff like that. That are things that a man normally goes around and do.
Yeah.
So there's a traditional standpoint and a viewpoint that feel like certain men, they feel like men are in ways are supposed to do certain things in life, and women are supposed to do other things in life. There's nothing wrong with that because a lot of our hard labor jobs are ran and done by men for the majority part. You wouldn't want your woman to be running around here toting up a 400-pound hose that she has to go drag down and connect up to something else in order for a flow to go through.
Real talk.
She's not physically built like that. That's the
Mm-hmm.
reason why men and women are built different. She's not physically built to endure that day in, day out. Now, the feminists will make you believe that, and they'll make you think that you're just this She-Hulk, that every woman is She-Hulk and can do everything like Hulk. And that's far from the case. So I think he was saying it from a standpoint of, traditionally, I see men doing it. I see men in that position. And if I don't see a man in that position, I don't feel comfortable enough for me to take that flight. And even in the United States, we do that here. A lot of people don't understand that when Donald Trump was in office, or because he was the only one that really faced against, or we're not even going to use Donald Trump. We could use any politician that is faced against a woman. Normally, the male are the ones that take the seat because a lot of times when these women that go into the voting booth, they'll tell you like, yeah, I'm going to vote for her or whatever the case may be. And they'll go in the booth and vote for the man. There's a lot of women. There's a lot of women. And I don't want y'all to think that there's not women out here like this. You might have your best friend that you swear up and down will sit here and vote for another woman, and they'll go right in that booth and go vote for a man, because there's a lot of women that feel like certain positions in life, a woman should not be in the seat to do
Right.
it. And that's why a lot of women did not vote for Hillary Clinton and will never vote for Hillary Clinton, because they just feel like certain positions is just destined for a man, and there's no way for, I mean, not really no way, but it shouldn't be granted to a woman, because they feel more secure with a man in that position than a woman in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about it, you know, when you talk about world issues and things like that, you know, a lot of times these women know that they are emotional, and their emotional intelligence isn't at where it should be, and they take it to the next level at times. So they're figured like, yo, if I have a woman that's a president and she goes and pops off and just, you know, spaz out because she's so emotional, she's making decisions being on emotions versus logics. That's how a lot of women think. So that's why a lot of women do not put women in positions that have total control like that. So I just wanted to put that out there, so we don't condemn her father and stick to the real narrative, which was a father that created a very powerful young woman and also guided her financially and supported her to make sure that she was able to conquer her dreams. Might not be a choice that her father wanted, but he was just being honest with his daughter, just like any other man that loves their child would want to be honest with their child as well. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he would not go on a plane ride with his daughter, because I'm pretty sure he would trust his daughter. But he just said, if I don't know a woman, if I don't know this lady and I see her on the plane, I probably would step off just for my safety in the process of it. So yeah, I just wanted to say that and leave that note. You guys can finish up on what you guys want to add on to that, and I'll turn it over to y'all.
Well, brother, I mean, let's keep it a buck while we're having this conversation, because you know, I saw that little slick shit they put in there, and you know, I know they meant it to be slick. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people out here that want to paint men out to be, you know, misogynist, and want to paint men out to be sexist or whatever the case may be. Which I would caution this young lady, when she's sitting down talking to interviewers, be very mindful of what you tell them, because you know there's a good chance that, you know, people who are supposedly journalists are going to try to take something that you say and put some negative spin on it. So I would just caution the sister, just be very careful with that. But I posted this earlier this week, and I kind of hit him with the double whammy, because I like to throw sand in the eyes of people who are full of shit as much as I can while giving praise. So my post read, I know, it's way too young for marriage. Old lady saboteur said this about Lori Harvey. But damn, you sure can be a whole pilot and make history at 25 when your mind is not on thought culture and you're focused. Ahem. Shout out to this young sister. Epic.
Boom.
Hashtag class over ass. And I had to do that, because what struck me so much about this is that she not only accomplished this, but she accomplished this at such a young age. This sister's 25 years old. And if you remember, when Lori Harvey was out here, you know, going from this dude to that dude, changing dudes like she changed drawers like she does, you know, all the women were coming out talking about how 25, that's too young to get married. She need to be out there and have some fun. They was talking all that stupid shit. You understand what I'm saying? And I just had to point it out. You know,
Yeah.
if you're focused and your mind is not on nonsense, and you're not out here, you know, trying to get attention at every juncture, and, you know, exhibiting a laser focus on juggling dicks like oranges. You understand what I'm saying? And you're really focused on what you're supposed to be doing. You can do a lot of stuff at a young age. That's when is being 25 something that disqualifies you from, you know, entering into the marital realm? Maybe some
Mm.
people do feel that way, but I was particularly upset that old lady gang was out here, trying to sabotage these young girls because as a young woman, I want this to really, really, really seep into the heads of some of these young sisters out here. As a young woman, don't listen to these old women giving you bad advice.
Mm.
Okay, I'm gonna go there, and anybody got a problem with it can see me. Don't listen to these old women giving you bad advice. There's a girl on my page right now that I used to mentor back in high school. When I had gotten out of high school, I still mentored her while she was in high school. She's about 5 or 6 years younger than me. And she was like, this is why I told you in the last episode, this is why she always used to come to me back in the days for advice, because older women would give her such terrible advice. When you are a young woman, that is when you have the most leverage. You are what the producer class of men are looking for. You're young, you're very attractive, you're fit, you're able to, give them children. They're able to enjoy your beauty over a long period of time. This is when you should be looking for a husband. You understand what I'm saying? And this is when you should be doing outstanding things like what this sister did. She can take this and parlay it for the rest of her life. This is a great accomplishment at a young age. And the only way that she has to go from here is up. Why would you not want that? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, at the end of the day, very proud of this young sister. I salute this young sister to the fullest, but I want to point out to young sisters that not only can you accomplish great things at a young age, but that is when you should be accomplishing your first great achievements at a young age. And then you just build on that throughout life. You know what I'm saying? You don't try to have hot girl summer all through your 20s, and then when you get in your 30s, you want to try to finally start going to school and finally start trying to settle down and have a life, or whatever the case may be. You know, um, and the ass backwardness of that does not miss me. I hate to see people sabotaging young people so that they can screw up in life like they did. That really, really bothers me. You know what I'm saying? So let's see more of this in our young sisters. I'm going to go out of my way every time I see a young sister that does something extraordinary. I'm going to post it and I'm going to put extras on it because there's just so much ratchetness out here, that we need to really, really be in the forefront of crown checking. I mean, like last week, there was so much ratchetness that I had to post. I felt compelled to find some positive stories of what sisters are out here doing because there's literally every hour on the hour, I'm going to see a post about some black woman doing some dumb ratchet shit. And that's sad. And I have to look, I have to sift, I have to go through hell and back to find a story like this. Come on, y'all. We got to tighten up out here. Respect to the sister, respect to the other respectful sisters that are out there. We see y'all. When we banging on these ratchets, we ain't talking about you. But my God, this ratchet renaissance is just out of control. And
That's
more
exactly what
y'all
it
have,
is.
yeah, more of y'all have to start speaking out against it too. Because a lot of sisters, the classy sisters especially, they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be attacked by these fucking hyenas. They don't want to be attacked by them. Meaning the sisters that are out here supporting the bad behavior and the yes child bullshit. They don't want to be in it, so they just don't say anything. They don't post at all. They don't talk online at all. I know strong sisters that would never come on this show and speak on some of the stuff that we speak on because they don't want the smoke from other sisters that they know that are going to attack them. I'm surprised they didn't find something negative to say about this girl.
Soon
Mm.
come.
Hey, I'm just saying, I'm shocked
Soon
out of
come.
my mind. You know what I'm saying? Because
I
they,
I
this,
wouldn't underestimate. I believe in them.
I
I
do
believe
too.
in them.
I
I
do
don't
too.
underestimate them. They're the elite of the elite, the best of the best. Trust me. They'll find something.
Man, look. But yeah, that's why I'm gonna land on it for now. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the sister. I want to see more of this. I want to see more young black women doing this type of thing and getting away from all the twerking and pussy popping and all that bullshit. That doesn't advance our community at all.
Exactly.
And again, just to tack onto that, and I definitely understand what you're saying, and the reason why a lot of the other sisters aren't speaking up, and I get that, I understand that, but I gotta put in your lap, ladies. I gotta do this. You all have to speak about this. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's gonna send some of these heffalumps darts your way, but I believe it was Zora Neale Hurston that said, "If we're silent about our pain, they will sit back and say that we liked it."
Real
A lot of
talk.
these sisters are saying they're saying, "Oh no, we're not all like that. We're not all like that." It's not enough to just simply say that we're not all like that, because the problem is these bugger wolves are fighting y'all for the microphone.
Real
Mm.
They
talk.
fighting y'all for the airtime, for the screen time, for the radio time, and unfortunately, they're winning.
They wear your uniform too.
So perception is reality.
Right.
So if all that, if it's basic marketing. If you
Yeah.
open a restaurant, if you open a business right now, there's no sign on it, no commercials, no advertising, no word of mouth, nothing, but the business is right there. If you hear people around saying, "Man, I wish we had a business in this area," you can't say, "Well, we have a business right here too. We have a business." It's not to just say that. We need to see it. We
Yeah.
need some signs. We need to hear some advertisements. We need to have a jingle. We need to get some kind of presence. Right now, they speak for you all because you're not pushing back at the narrative. And so,
Mm-hmm.
even though we understand it's not everyone, but they're all that we see.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no counter to the narrative, then they become the narrative.
Mm.
And
Real
meanwhile,
talk.
you guys are miserable. You're upset about the perception, about the slander, about the constant speaking on the state of womanhood, and you're saying this isn't fair. It's not all of us. You have to buff back. Men can't do that for you.
Real talk.
Men can't be representatives. The only men's out here trying to be representatives are the ones who are insisting that you're birthers and chest feeders.
Mm.
Those are the ones that are attempting to speak for women.
Real talk.
Mm.
Real talk.
If there's going to be any counter to this narrative, if the Ratchet Renaissance is to die a death, it's going to be because the solid sisters stand up, grab the mic, and reassert themselves and let it be known we are at the top of this pecking order,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
not you gutter roaches.
Real
And
talk.
it's and us solid brothers, we will do our part to stand by you all, to help lift you all up, to have your back, to reinforce what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but it's got to come from you. The same way how it's on Solid Brothers to grab the mic and speak for manhood and not allow these goons and these chuckleheads to speak for us.
Right. Real talk. Very
Gotta
well
stand
said.
up, gotta stand for your own. So go ahead, we've got your back, we support you, we love you, we want to see y'all back on top. We're hungry for it, we're thirsty for it. But it starts with you guys.
Yeah, man. That's so real, man. And like I was saying in the chat earlier this week, I'll take it a step even further than that. You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying this and I really mean this. I want people to feel me on this. You know, there's not much of a difference. There's not much daylight between Aisha Curry, Kiki Palmer, and Sexy Red. There's really not. You understand what I'm saying? There's not. You know, you have women of good conscience, and women of integrity and respectful, mind and body. And then you have those other women. And those women, it's not just those women, that are problematic. It's also the women that cape for them and coddle them.
Mm,
Okay.
their
They're
fan base.
they're one and the same. Okay. And no matter how cool you are, how down I might be with you, or whatever the case may be, when you come out here and you say this, mind-numbingly goofy shit, and you side with these people, which ultimately harms Black society, you're letting me know who you really are. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, at the end of the day, you're just like them. You know, sisters, brothers and sisters, everybody. It's gonna come to a point where we got to draw a line in the sand. You understand? And you just have to know who's on what side of the line. You understand? We've done that. It's certain type of brothers we just don't rock with. It's certain type of behavior we just don't co-sign. Full stop. It's not, well, they just having fun. No, man. How old are we? We really have to get to a point of reckoning where we're looking at the type of behavior that we co-sign and the type of shit that we internalize and make part of who we are, and understand what that means, because it all means something. If you're constantly co-signing this fuckery and bullshit, you are an enemy of Black society. Period.
Period.
You understand? We are at a very dangerous position right now, man. All these other groups are coming in, and they're claiming their little territories. They're pushing us out. They're smacking us around, whatever the case may be. The law is not protecting us. We need to be on code. We need to have each other's back, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. We don't have time for all this hood boogery. We don't have time for that shit. You understand? And, we're going to see real soon who's going to show up and be counted and who was full of shit. And unfortunately, I see it almost every day, just as I scroll down my social media thread. I see who the low-key misandrists are that want to play it off like, they really love the men's. You full of shit. You understand? Like, we need to draw that line in the sand, because it's going to come a time where we really need each other. We're going to have to show up for each other, and that time is going to be soon. You know what I'm saying? So we need to have an all hands on deck approach and get these bullshit ass people out of our mix. You know what I'm saying? Sisters, we love you. But we're gonna need to see more of y'all stepping up out here and holding other sisters accountable. That's the long and short of it.
All right, so definitely, I want to show you guys this real quick. It takes courage to be who you really are. Shaka Zulu was a very courageous man who didn't take no and he didn't stand up for bullshit, and he was
Right.
very unapologetic about it. Be that person that can definitely be a pioneer out here and do what we need to do to get our community and our society back on track. Co-signing BS only leaves us crippled for a very long time. So, go out here, be who you are, stand up and stand against the bullcrap. Shout out to Jess Hilarious for standing up for women. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying?
Yes.
She wasn't finna sit
Mm.
there and let a man who converted into being a woman tell her about womanhood when she was naturally blessed that in the first instance by God. So we got to be people who stand up against the BS in the long run, so that way that BS don't come back and cripple us and our children in the future. So I'm glad that everybody's stepping up and saying what they need to do and pushing back against the BS. Also, real quick, I want to show you another unapologetic behavior, right? So a lot of people didn't know about Dapper Dan, but Dapper Dan was out here and he got blackballed from Tommy Hilfiger. So Dapper Dan says that he's the reason why MTV
Mm.
started blurring out clothing brand logos and speaks on how Tommy Hilfiger is telling um, is what it says is telling MTV they'll stop advertising with them if they didn't blur out Dapper Dan's logo when rappers wore his clothes. We got to get back to the eliteness that we once were, and start having our rappers have the dignity to go out here and start giving advertisement to Black-owned labels and things like that, because you know, we got to build back our own society and stop letting people piggyback and eat off of us. We have too much power, too much influence for that to go down like that. So I just wanted to show that so that way we can get into a new direction. We thank you guys for tuning in this week, and showing you the powers of hip hop, even with Dapper Dan taking him to the next level. So with that being said, we'll see you guys next week. We appreciate all of y'all and everything y'all do and the wonderful feedback out here. All right?
Yo,
Peace
yo.
out, family. Be
Blessings.
easy.
Yeah.
Be
Show.
good.
Why is it not letting me go? Okay.
On the album, we do things like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.